Flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Into the lane, reverse windmill jam. Are you kidding me?
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ-HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, 2 o'clock is here, and that means it's time for the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and streaming live video at 97.3ESPN.com. What's going on, everybody? I'm your host, Mike Gill. That's Hunter Brody. We affectionately call him Brodes. Josh Jennings producing today's show. You out there. If you're watching the show live, we appreciate you jumping on board. As we do, we will read off your comments on the stream throughout the show. The text board is always open, 609-403-0973. You know, I watch The Bachelor. I'm not ashamed of it, but I always make fun of the guy who's like The Bachelor. He wears a turtleneck all the time. He wears like a big, fluffy turtleneck. Like that look went out a while ago, right?
Absolutely.
But he's always wearing like when they go out to dinner, like the nice dinner. His nice outfit is like the blazer with the big puffy turtleneck. But I have like the guard, the mask guard thing on my face. And it makes me look like on the video that I'm wearing a big puffy turtleneck, and I don't like it.
Ah, that's right. Well, you don't need to have that on right now.
Well, if I go like between the breaks, if I go to the kitchen, if I have to go to the bathroom.
Well, you might have to sacrifice that moment of putting it back on if you don't want to be rocking the turtleneck.
Well, I only wore it because when it's been cold outside with the snow, I figured this was like almost another like nice little layer for me. But
it doesn't snow down
here.
Here.
On and off my head, I don't want to mess my hair up.
Well, look, I mean, you're so against the turtleneck. You're going to have to make a really tough decision here. It's like, do you want to go with Carson Wentz or do you want to go with Jalen Hurts? Do you want to rock the turtleneck or do you want to, mess up your hair? You're going to have to choose one or the other.
I don't want to mess my hair up.
Okay, well, is that equivalent to sticking with Carson Wentz?
What's worse, having the turtleneck look or going with the messy hairdo?
The turtleneck look is worse.
I think so. Every time he wears that turtleneck, I'm like, and these girls are into him?
Well, think about it. If you have nice hair, but you have a turtleneck on, no one's going to be like, man, that hair's nice. They're going to be like, wow, he's wearing that turtleneck. So
yeah,
you'd
got
rather,
a bad turtleneck
right.
on.
It'd be like, wow, that guy looks nice. If only he fixed his hair, he could look nicer. I'll take that. I'll take that over the alternative.
Yeah, what's worse, the turtleneck look or the bad hair day? And look, I'm 44 years old. The fact that I can talk about a bad hair day is still a win for me.
That's true. Yeah, I respect that because I don't know if I'm going to be bald soon, and I'll be pissed.
Oh, come on, dude.
What? If you look at my family tree, all the men are bald, and they hit bald kind of early.
Yeah, but isn't it like your mom's dad or
Guess
something
what?
like that?
Bald as hell.
Okay.
Bald
Whatever
as hell.
Well, my dad's,
I saw your father. Yeah,
I mean, he's lost some.
He's lost some.
Lost a little heat on the fastball up there.
That's okay. Most do.
I want to know how many people in the listening audience are 44 or older and are still rocking a full weave.
That's a good question.
How many of you out there, how many of you watching the show today can say, I'm 44 and I still got a full head of hair?
Now, I want to know, when do you commit to I'm bald or I'm going to pay? Like, when do you would you ever go fake hair? Like, or once you lose it, you lose it?
I've had this conversation many a times, even on these airwaves. Like, the guy who goes rug, I can't jive with him.
I agree with you. Now, I was go back to
you would go rug?
No, I wouldn't. But did Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David picked a chef for his restaurant just because he was bald, and then he sees him in the store, and the guy's wearing fake hair. Yeah. Ends up firing the guy one day before the restaurant opens because he couldn't believe it.
There's no part. Basically, you make the decision to go tube is like the guy who says, I'll go blue end.
But here's the counter, though. Nowadays, there's probably, like back in the day, you could tell, wow, that is ugly. It just sat on top. Nowadays, there's so much involved that you could probably get it so it looks gorgeous, perfect,
No.
A+.
Have you seen the commercial for that product that's out there and the guy who has like the crooked nose?
That is not enough
It's
information for me to know what we're
Keeps
discussing.
or something?
No.
Oh, man, come on. The guy, he's on there all the time. Like, I'm not ready to lose my hair.
No, well, Josh
Yeah,
has
guy's
seen
got,
it.
like, a crooked nose. Yeah, that guy. I mean, I'd like to see what the finished product is on that.
Well, I mean, you can point out bad products all around, but if you want to spend that upper echelon cash, you can get a good rug. A nice one.
Yeah.
And then chicks are running their hands through it. Yeah, look, I might reconsider my thoughts.
That's like, so I have to wear a CPAP machine, okay? So at the time, I was a single guy, and I told my dad when I got the CPAP, he said, well, what are you going to tell ladies? Like, how do you bring that up? And I said, I don't know. I mean, I don't have like a blueprint for, hey, by the way, I got this machine that sits on my, like
in between dinner and dessert. That's when you execute. Like, you don't have a game plan on when to say it.
Yeah, there is no perfect way to spring that on someone. Like, oh, by the way, I'm going to have to put this mask on my face before we go to sleep. I'll tell you what, though, it's been amazing. Like, I sleep way better. The other night, it fell off of the nightstand and it came unplugged and it woke me up immediately because I felt the air stop.
Yeah, I could imagine. I'm sure you probably jumped up a little bit too. Did it make a big noise or no?
That's like my point. No, it didn't. It's just that the plug came out.
Oh, okay.
The plug kind of came out of the back of the machine. So it didn't make the noise so much. It just kind of got pulled out of there. Yeah, it's called Keeps. Maybe they want to sponsor you.
Maybe.
Or Josh. Maybe you or Josh.
Yeah.
Not me. I got all my hair.
Well, I got all my hair right now. I'm just nervous for the
Josh
future.
would be the best out of the three of us.
Josh might be the best candidate.
Hey, can anybody in the sales department get Keeps on the line? We can get Josh an endorsement for Keeps hair loss. Give it to me straight. The guy's like, I'm not ready to lose my hair. You haven't seen that one? It's on all the time.
Maybe I have, and when I see it, it's
the guy with the crooked nose.
The crooked. Look, I'm a hockey player. I've seen so many crooked noses that they look normal to me. So when you see a crooked nose, to me, it's like, it's a normal nose. I don't know what a crooked nose is.
Well, he's on television, up close and personal on the screen, right?
I've never seen that commercial, seeing this gentleman.
Never?
Never.
I mean, come on.
I've never seen him.
But like, okay,
what channel is it on?
Every channel.
Every channel ever.
Every channel.
ESPN, Fox.
Oh, what do you mean what channel? It's a product for men's hair loss. What do you think? It's on TLC?
Well, you're talking about The Bachelor and all this. I don't watch that stuff too much. Maybe you saw it last night.
It's on ESPN. It's on...
I'll let you know when I see it. I watch NHL Game Center from 7 p.m. till midnight.
It should be on there.
No, I hate this. They don't play commercials. They say the game will be back when the commercial break is over.
Oh, they
do once in a blue moon. Sometimes I get Canada commercials, but for the most part, it's a silent screen that says we will return shortly or something like that. I hate that. So awkward.
Then I shouldn't do that when we go to commercial today?
I think that is probably a safe bet. We should play something. That's how we pay our bills.
I mean, like you have this situation where how do you broach that topic?
You just do it. In terms
I
of
have fake hair.
Oh, I thought you meant the sleeping machine because we were talking about how you break.
I had to say.
You just go for it.
It's funny. I got a funny story.
I think what you do is you play it off for a couple months and then you have to do it.
A couple months.
Yeah, a couple months. You pretend like it's normal and this is your hair, and then you break the news like, hey, by the way, this is fake.
Oh, you're talking about the hair.
Yeah, the hair. Now we're all flip-flopped again.
How do you play off for a couple of months that you have a CPAP machine?
Now, that's just like, hey, this is reality of the situation. You don't want me to, you want me to sleep good at night? You want to sleep good at night?
No, it's you want to sleep good at night. You can't say it's for me.
Right.
I did this for you.
Exactly. It's not you, it's me routine just kind of flipped around a little bit.
Yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't get not one wink.
No, not one at all.
But the hair situation, I mean, do you want to go that long and then say, hey, I kept this from you?
Yeah, you got to get to a comfortable level. You can't do it day one because day one might be the difference in getting that second opportunity. So it's got to be a little bit of time.
I think a couple months is too long.
Maybe it is. Maybe it's a couple months is a little too long. Yeah, maybe the wedding day? Hey, just to let you know.
By the way,
at the altar.
I've been meaning to tell you this. It's not real.
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. I thought you were telling me something as if.
Yeah, but that's definitely like the guy who makes that decision. I would love to know what his thought process is. Like, hey, I got to do something here, and my decision is going to be, I'm going to go with fake hair.
Well, maybe someone in the audience listening has been through it, and we would love to hear from you if that's the case. I'm interested too.
Now, you believe someone listening today is wearing a rug?
Yes, because I think it's way more popular now that they've become more like realistic. I think you're probably associated someone who does it, and you just have no clue because nowadays
I don't know one person.
You think you don't know one
No,
person.
I know I don't know one person.
Then your circle's very small, maybe, which it's not, because I know it's not. I bet you there's someone with
There's
a fake
not
rug.
one person I know in my circle that wears a rug.
It's because it's
And
so
you know
good
who I
now.
think would be the closest one to
Pete
it?
Thompson.
No,
Oh,
he
I
doesn't
don't
have
know.
a rug. Come on, he's got a big divot back there.
You asked who I thought would maybe have
No,
one.
I can
Maybe
see the
Pete Thompson.
swine pulling off the rug because he pulls off the bad turtleneck.
He does, but it's one or the other. You're probably not doing turtleneck fake
but
hair.
he goes
Blue end.
ends.
He does go, wow. Could you imagine the trio? Blue end, fake hair, turtleneck?
Like, how do the people not like? Everybody knows that sneak is what it is.
I know.
And yet you walk into the store and say, "I'll take it."
Yeah, my father was
don't
one.
understand
But there's
it.
a Nike version too. It's the same thing.
Same
It's the
thing,
blue,
though.
the blue
Every
Nike logo.
Maker has it.
Yeah.
It's the white with the blue. It's just I don't understand.
Maybe
how,
they embrace it. It's like, I want to be that dad.
You have to know that everybody's looking at your footwear and saying, "Dude, come on, man, you could do better."
I might look into doing it. Maybe I should do it. See if I can rock it. Pull it off.
Well, they tried to do Kawhi Leonard with the New Balances, and that it hasn't caught on.
It's the most
Like,
Kawhi Leonard
sometimes,
thing ever.
Like the kids were wearing Champion, and that didn't last long.
No, you know why it's working now? Because the Kardashians. Champion's still a thing. It's popping. It is.
It was popping like 2 summers ago, I feel like.
Yeah, well, the Kardashians keep it going. Whatever they wear, people are going to rock, and they rock Champion, so I know it is a hot item.
Right. Like, but no, I don't think there's any star athlete or person out there that's like, I'm going to be the person that says blue end.
No, not at all. And it's funny, with Champion, I do think you're right in terms of, like, athletes. I don't think athletes try and pull it off. It's more like musicians, Kanye West, who's associated with the Kardashians. It's more like non-athletes that'll rock the Champion stuff.
No, the Champion I saw, that was bad. I don't think anybody's taking the plunge. That's why I said those are the two decisions that I just don't understand. You got a guy who's got a lot of pride probably, and he says, I'm going to go fake hair, or I'm going to go white sneak blue end. And I see the white sneak blue end, I mean, all the time.
Yeah, they're just out of date. They don't know. They don't realize.
They have to know that everybody looks at that sneak and says, come on, man, you're better than that. At what point did you just quit? At what point of your life did you say, I'm giving up?
No, see, you believe that these people know. They don't. They just go in and they see the shoe.
I refuse to believe that these people are so naive that there's this many people. This is a big, like I would say 50% of people wear that sneak.
Gill, I bet you right now that there's probably 15 to 20 people listening as we speak wearing those shoes, not even knowing what we're talking about, because if you wear the shoe, you don't know about the shoe. So now everyone's looking down, and please look up because it's snowing out there, on their pedal foot to see if they're rocking the end, and they don't even know what we're discussing. I'm telling you, it's the truth.
I can't agree with that.
I guarantee
I would like to know. Now, we have a bunch of people who have texted in. This gentleman says, 45, the hair flows. I put Brodes to shame with my flowing locks.
Whoa, we're going to need a picture.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
you
would
can't
be
call me out and then not have to, you got to back it up and support it. So I will be waiting for a text message
that
through
would
the text board.
You would be like Michael J. Fox in Teen Wolf if you had more hair than you right now.
Yeah, there's no way that someone's breaking this. This is just unbelievable. It's good stuff.
Now, this gentleman says, I am 68, and I have more hair than both of you guys together.
See, now look, I need pictures. You show me proof, and I'll say, fine. Then I will admit that I saw it, and I agree with you. But until I see it, I can't trust this,
No,
right?
I can't trust that, but I would think that 68 has the hair. If he has more hair than us, he's also wearing the blue ends.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a Barry Melrose kind of hair. If you're that age and you're probably on the grayer side, I would imagine, and you slick it back, rock it like that. Like that's what I picture older men with hair do. They go for the slick back old Barry Melrose concept.
That's a good look.
It is a great look. A little greasy, throw a little gel in there, make it look wet. I like it.
Well, I got to be honest. That wasn't how I thought this day was going to start. However, anybody out there who is wearing the blue ends, please, you could do better. You know you can, and I demand it. I demand that nobody in our listening audience wear those blue ends. Can we try to put a crusade together for that?
Yeah, maybe we could put together the Sports Bash care package where if you are someone that struggles with the blue end wearing, we can help you out. We will send you a care package to maybe, push you a little bit forward.
Yeah, there's got to be something we could do to help you. And I believe it in my heart that those people know They just have given up.
No, that is where we are different. I don't think they're aware. I'm telling you, they're probably so unaware of the conversation we're even having right now. Like, what are they talking about? And they're wearing the shoes.
Yeah, that would be the thing. They're wearing the shoes. Like, if you came in with those shoes, I would tell you, sorry, dude.
Yeah, you would think like if they're an older gentleman, right? And they have daughters or sons or whatever, like, hey, Dad.
Somebody.
I think it's time to switch things up. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I grew in these. And it's like, that's our problem,
that's
Dad.
The funny part, too, is I didn't realize that they were like the grill man shoes. Like, that to me was like a foreign like concept. It was, to me, they were just I've given up. Like, I just
grill.
have no style left in me.
Wrangler jeans, maybe.
I don't care any longer. And I've just said, give me the cheapest, most comfortable thing I can find. Instead of saying, look, I might give up a little comfort. Like, I want to ask Schweim, what was the thought process that you said, I'm going to go with the blue ends? That's it. I've made the decision. And I know it's because he knows. He knows.
But does he know because we told him?
He knows. And I just want to know, what was the thought process? What were the steps he took in his mind? I'm going to buy these. I'm making the purchase. And I don't care what anybody says.
I want to take it a step further. I want to talk to the people at New Balance who made the shoe.
Well, because
what was your vision?
Buying them.
What was your vision? Did you know it would take off this way? Did you target the dads? What were the demographics you were looking at? Maybe they thought this would be a cool shoe, a West Virginia shoe. Yeah. But then the dads started buying it and it took off. Like, what was their process when trying to build this shoe?
That's it. Schweim has the shoe. He's one guy that I know that has the shoe. Why? What happened? Where did it go wrong for you? At what point did you say, I have just given in? I'm giving in, and that shoe is the decision I'm making. Because he also goes turtleneck. That's another bad decision. And I can't condone it. But the shoe's worse. And if I see him come in with a rug, I'm going to have some problems here. I could see him going rug.
Oh, I could too. Oh, I definitely
could see him go.
I just want to be a fly on the wall for that scenario. If you ever walk in,
I want to be able to fly on the wall for the shoe purchase.
Just
I wanted
for the
to
shoe
be in the store when he said to the guy, "Hey, you have these in what size shoe would Schwein wear? 11?
Yeah, probably like a 10.
You got these in 11? Oh, they look good. Oh yeah, I'll take these in 11. You got these? Got another pair?
Yeah, I was going to say
two.
he buys two. One for mowing the lawn that gets green,
yep.
And then the other one's the grill.
Come on, man.
You think Schwein mows his lawn? Pays for a service. I don't see him as a lawn mower.
I don't know what kind of yard he has.
Yeah, it's true. Fair point.
All right, we got 2 games tonight.
Yes, we do.
Back to action. We got a busy show. By the way, Sarah Spain's going to join us. I want to ask her, would number one...
What are we going to do today? I'm a little nervous for what we just set up.
What if a young, attractive man wore those shoes? Like, it's one thing for a guy like Schweim to wear the shoes. Talk about a young, attractive guy. Like you said, he's starting to try the trend. I'm going to make the blue ends cool.
I'd imagine she's walking the other way.
You're saying she's out.
Probably. Because I know I would. If I see a woman that's attractive and then she's trying to rock something that's like, ooh, where's she going here? It would probably turn me off.
Well, I know she watches The Bachelor. So I'm going to ask her.
Okay.
Does she like the turtleneck?
All right. Now, that's a good question. That one's at least a little bit more relatable. The shoe, she'll probably just be thrown away. But the Bachelor fans are probably all thinking the same thing about the turtleneck.
This is where, again, we have the disconnect. People understand that shoe is a bad decision. They know it.
Everyone who doesn't wear it knows it. The people who wear it do not know it.
I don't agree.
We'll see what she thinks.
Exactly. Because she knows as well as we know that when you have gone to that sneaker, you have decided my life is hitting the pause button. I am done. I no longer care. That's what that shoe tells you. I have given up. I have lost interest, and I don't care anymore.
Now, what if her significant other wears them? And here we are poking fun at it. And she's like, uh-oh, my significant other wears these shoes.
Now, this gentleman says, I used to wear the black ends. Is that acceptable? The black shoe. So I've seen them. They're black shoe with black end.
Yeah. See that?
Yeah, that's not as bad.
It's not as bad because it's not as noticeable just because it's an all-around black shoe.
Yeah.
But I bet you he's questioning. Yeah, it's not a great look. See,
but
now
he's questioning. Because we had to wear black shoes for work. So that's different. If you had to do it because, like, your outfit, it was part of your uniform.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it changes things because you have to wear it.
By the way, no business is telling you part of your uniform will be the white New Balance with the blue N. There is not a business where that would be the requirement. This guy I could see. If you're a waiter, you work at a bar, you work where you have to wear black slacks, but you need sneakers for comfort. I can see the all-black sneaker look. But no business will say you will be required or you have the ability to wear the white sneaker with the blue N.
Now I kind of want to
swoosh or the blue. You name it. It's the blue. The New Balance is the one that really set the standard.
It did, but now I kind of want to build my own business where that is mandatory. You're not working for me unless you have the blue N. I want that to be my thing.
This guy's picture is great.
Did he send a picture of his hair?
Well, it's like the top of his head.
Where's it? Well, I'm trying to look for it on the text board. Oh, here it is.
It's the top text on the text board.
Yeah, here we go. Wow, that is some nice.
All right.
See, the problem is I don't see enough of the back.
Now, this guy says, I don't know where the blue N came from, but if you look at these shoes, they are made for wide feet. It seems that's why old guys buy them. The older you get, the feet starts hurting, and they buy them for the room. Now, I have been told that before because there was a time when I was a little heavier, and it's like my foot's getting, like I'm having trouble wearing different shoes. And the guy, I was at the store, and he said, I recommend these.
And I recommended those?
Absolutely not. I will suffer.
You'd rather go barefoot.
I said, I'm not wearing them. I am not wearing them. And he said, well, they're wide. That's why. You need a – so it wasn't that was the – but that's the thing. They're not the only wides. There are other wide shoes. But that has been told to me before by the man at the shoe store. He would say, can I recommend these you have a wider – I no longer have the wider foot. I've lost like 70 pounds, so my foot has resurfaced back to like its normal state so I can wear shoes again. But I never, even when I was a big balloon, I never gave in to that damn shoe, and I refuse to, and I won't. My girlfriend won't let me, by the way.
Good.
She is on the team with me. She will say, there's a gentleman, blue ends. She'll tap me on the shoulder. It's like punch buggy.
Yeah, exactly. Punch, no punch back.
She sees someone with that blue end, she'll give me the blue ends.
Yeah. Now, how do you feel, though, that you were once a man, that someone was like, wow, this guy's a blue end guy, and he comes in with the blue end. Like, he pointed you out and said, wow, this guy's a blue end guy.
Wow.
So you fell in that category.
Now, how about this story? And this is this would be a reason, okay? This guy's got a reason. He said, my brother-in-law had cancer, and as a result, he lost his hair. He got a toupee. He said it was $1,500, but he said, I guarantee you couldn't tell he was wearing one. Now, that's different. That's a different story. He had a reason that he
absolutely.
I'm talking about a guy who is trying to hold on.
Agree. Two totally different scenarios. I think we're all understanding.
Very fair very fair.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, he said it cost $1,500. It better look like he couldn't tell he was wearing
that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I think there's people out there that you associate with who just it's that good. That good now.
I would say if I had to make a choice in my life, would I go taupe or blue N? I choose taupe.
I would too, for sure.
The blue N will never happen. It will never happen.
We should do something where the loser has to rock the blue N shoes for like a week.
Yes, we should. And
we'll come up with something.
We have that guy. Schwein works every weekend. If this is what I would like. Bob is watching on the stream, and he says, stop shoe shaming. He has that blue N on.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
What I would like to know is how many people out there today are wearing that blue N?
Too many.
And if you have it, please take a picture and send it to us. We'll keep it discreet. But I just want to know, in my heart of hearts, how many people in our audience are wearing that blue N.
I want to know if there were Philadelphia athletes in this city right now, who would be the blue N athlete? Andrew Knapp? Like, who would be the guy to rock the blue N in Philadelphia as we speak? Players.
That's a good question.
Yeah, we could think about it. We could jot some down throughout the show.
All right. I think Sarah Spain is on the line with us here, and we could bring her into the conversation. We got a lot of other things. She's the host of Spain and Fitz, weeknights at 7 right here on 97.3 ESPN, and she joins us now via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Sarah, how are you?
I'm pretty all right. How about you guys?
Pretty all right. We're doing really good. We're having a pretty fun conversation. I don't know how it got to where we were going, but I had been told by my producer that you are a fan of The Bachelor, correct?
Oh yeah, I got The Bachelor on my podcast today.
Oh, Matt James is on the podcast today?
Matt James, that's what she said with Sarah Spain. Look it up. Just did an interview with him last night.
Okay, well, I am also a fan, so I'm not ripping anybody here. But this is what I would like to know about Matt James and you. I said, look, he's a good-looking guy. He's got it all going. He's very intelligent. But I can't get on board with somebody wearing that turtleneck. That's not a good look. Am I wrong about that?
Okay, this is funny because, so every year around Christmas time, I have a Festivus episode of my podcast, and I do the airing of grievances, and I have sports people from all over chime in. And somebody's airing of grievance was local sports radio guys who criticize people who have good fits. And I'm not saying necessarily that everyone can get on board with a turtleneck, but I do think that in the same way that the people who complain about my earrings the most on social media are middle-aged dudes, that sometimes the people offering the fashion tips are not the ones that know what's in fashion. I know nothing about you. I don't want to accuse you of wearing
I can't pull it off. I can't pull
anything.
He can pull it off, but I just wonder, like, he's got all these girls coming after him, and I'm wondering if they're like, I just can't get past the fact that he's wearing that bunchy turtleneck. That's all.
Yeah, the turtleneck doesn't really do it for me, but I'm not fully anti-turtleneck. People can pull it off, and it's definitely a thing that's in right now. There's a lot of things that the young people are wearing right now that I'm confused by. If you have a really great body, why are you wearing jeans that make you look like someone's mom? I don't get it, right?
The high-waisted jean is not a good look.
Make them look less, with the bunchy butt. I don't get it, but I'm also old, so I just accept that I'm past the time where I'm the one who gets to decide whether that looks good or not.
Now, are you in the camp that you know that when somebody makes the decision to go white New Balance with blue N, they have given up?
I'm torn on this because I have been told by many that New Balance is the best running shoe, but you should not be wearing them anytime other than while running. Like, you need to have another pair to immediately, as soon as you slow down to a walk, change into a different pair of shoes. So, yes, I do think if you're wearing, especially if you're a guy out there wearing a light colored jean that barely grazes the top of your New Balances that are squeaky white, you've probably been up.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The Wrangler jeans, for sure. That the light Wrangler jeans with the New Balance. The thing for me is when you see, Gill believes that these people have given up. They made the choice to give up. I believe that they don't even understand what we're talking about. So all these people listening who are wearing the shoe right now, they don't even know. They're not aware that this is even a thing.
Right. They're laughing at the people we're talking about, and they don't know it's them.
All right, well,
unfortunately, I think you're right. I think a lot of people don't think they've given up. They just don't know any better.
So check out Sarah's podcast, Spain and Fitz, where they might extrapolate more on this conversation tonight. You never know. We'll have Jay coming up in his normal spot at 3:00, and we'll ask him as well. But what I want to ask you, Sarah Spain, is your thoughts on the off-season ride Eagles fans are about to go on with this whole Carson Wentz situation, because it seems to change almost every single day. You know, Goff gets traded. Now that means he's going to get traded. He doesn't want to be there. They never said that. The coach won't commit. So how is this story going to play out?
I think they're going to do everything in their power to try to get Wentz to be the guy because of the financial investment in him. Some interesting ties there, right? Because we know, of course, that Sirianni has the connections to Frank Reich, who has the relationship with Wentz, but then also Sirianni's quarterbacks that he coaches has known Jalen Hurts since he was a kid. So they're setting themselves up for those connections regardless. But to me, when Doug Peterson got sent, that told me everything I needed to know. I don't think that was about the last game of the season. I think he was following orders from above. But when they realized there was not a reconciliation coming between Wentz and Peterson, and they realized that financially they could not get out from under Wentz the way that they could with Peterson, they let him go. I mean, it's not something you usually see from a coach that just won. And I think they're just hoping and praying that the upside that they saw from Wentz earlier will come back. But I think it's going to be a pretty awkward situation going forward because you have the team seeing in practice every day how both players are playing. And if Hurts looks better and they know it's a financial move, that's not going to sit very well with a bunch of guys that are, going out and getting their butts beat every week.
What was your initial reaction to the Nick Sirianni hire, and has it changed since then?
Well, it's funny because I had so much fun with Campbell and the Lions and the biting off the kneecaps. That's not to say that I don't think he'll be a good coach, although I don't think he'll have success because it's Detroit, so no one ever does. But I was mostly just the idea that that's the thing that's going to inspire confidence is someone talking about gnawing off kneecaps. So then we get instead the quote unquote intellectual approach from Sirianni, who fumbles and bumbles his way through it. You don't have to be a great public speaker to be a head coach, but you do have to inspire confidence and respect. And so I'm hoping that was just a lot of nerves, and that when he gets into that room, he manages, because like I just said, it would be awkward for anybody walking in there, but he's not walking in there with a whole lot of agency from previous gigs that leaves everyone in that room saying this guy knows what he's doing, and we know that he's going to make us good. So he's going to have to earn that, and it's going to take better than what we saw in that intro presser.
Sarah Spain is the host of Spain and Fitz, weeknights at 7 on 97.3 ESPN. So the 76ers, I want to get your thoughts on that, because last year was one of the most miserable seasons ever. And yeah, they made the playoffs, but it was painful. And I'm imagining that they have become almost a national story now. They've got Doc Rivers as the coach of the month. Joel Embiid is the player of the month. It feels like this team is so different, but this area knows, is it time that we let our guard down and believe in the Sixers?
It's all in how you operate as a person. I think the NBA is the toughest sport to allow yourself to believe in a team that hasn't done it in the postseason. Look at the Bucs, right? Look at the Rockets over the last few years. There are teams that will continue to get close and they just can't get over the hump. So if you deprive yourself of the pleasure of enjoying them all season long because you wait to see whether they do it in the postseason and then they don't, now you didn't even get to enjoy the regular season. So I say dive fully in, allow yourselves to get hurt if it doesn't work out, but enjoy it while you can. Because listen, my Bulls should have been relegated to the G League. They should adopt the premiership plan. They should relegate teams to the G League until they prove they deserve to be in the NBA. I haven't had a year in a long time where I got to even enjoy the idea that they might be relevant. So while your team is doing what they're doing, and while Joel Embiid seems to have figured out the many disparate parts to his life that were kind of contributing to him not being consistently great, enjoy it. But there's not a single NBA team that I would say, based on their regular season, I have full confidence in the postseason, because we see how it translates in series. It's about coaching. It's about matchups. And a team as great as the Bucs has not been able to push through. So for me, it's the Lakers. And then if the Nets don't implode talent-wise and defense-wise, but the 76ers are right up there this year, so I would say enjoy it while you can.
All right, Sarah Spain, Spain and Fitz. The podcast is That's What She Said with Sarah Spain. Matt James is the guest, and I see that the T says, the flack he's getting for kissing women with his eyes open. My girlfriend says that to me every single time. I hate the fact that he has his eyes open, so I'm glad that you brought that up with him. So check that podcast out and listen for Spain and Fitz. Weeknights at 7 on 97.3 ESPN. Sarah Spain, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
All right, we'll have to do it again. She was fun, and that was an enjoyable conversation. I didn't know that she was having The Bachelor on.
Yeah, it's pretty funny how that worked out, huh?
Yeah, that added to my conversation. I don't know about yours.
Yeah, sure it did. I had a great time. I thought we ended off well with that blue end combo. She seemed to lean towards how I feel about it.
Kind of. But she brought up the fact that the New Balance is used for running. The New Balance running sneaker is not a bad look.
No, not a bad look.
It's a solid look.
Yeah.
It's the next version.
Right.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. All right. We'll take a break. I think that's probably apropos. Sports Bash is live on 97.3 ESPN. Coming up, we got a busy show for you. Jason Fitz is her partner. He'll join us at 3 o'clock today inside the Sixers. Paul Hudrick, Super Bowl champion Bryant McKinnie. Now, McKinnie's very interesting. He's from the area. Went to Woodbury High School. How does a guy from a Group 1 school go and become a Super Bowl champion? 7th pick in the draft. We'll ask Bryant McKinnie at 3:40 today, plus Zubin Mehenti, Geoff Mosher. It's a busy day. Don't go away. We'll have a lot of fun. Plus, Jalen Hurts said something. Jalen Mills said something. And Carson Wentz, still nothing. Back with more Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and watch the show live at 97.3ESPN.com.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tonight for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic and Ocean City from the Dixie Howe Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tonight. Wildwood Catholic, Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 and 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Progressive presents an interview with your upstairs neighbor.
Hi, I'm Tia. The upstairs-downstairs neighbor dynamic is so special. We have our own language. Like when I scream at my mom on the phone, the people downstairs bang on the ceiling to show their support.
The nighttime's the best time to rearrange furniture. I call it midnight feng shui.
And if I sleep through my alarm in the morning, they bang on my door to wake me. So thoughtful.
Progressive can't save you from your upstairs neighbor, but we can save you money when you bundle renters and auto insurance with us. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Love makes one do crazy things. Take me. I'm having a 50% off sale, a crazy Cupid 50% off Valentine's sale with interest-free financing, something we haven't done in years, featuring great Valentine's gifts and engagement diamonds at 50% off with interest-free financing. Shop BernieRobbins.com or go crazy the old-fashioned way and visit one of our stores. The 50% off Crazy Cupid sale ends February 13th. Why the 13th? If you haven't done it by then, I can't help you.
The 55th big game is this weekend, and to celebrate football's finale, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in the big game. That's right. All it takes is for one touchdown to be scored Sunday night, and boom, your money is doubled. As if this game wasn't enough reason to party. With double the cash, you'll be celebrating till next season. And don't forget about DraftKings Big Game Prediction Challenge with up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs and instant prizes for everyone who enters the contest. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code 973 to get a shot at doubling your money if a touchdown is scored in Sunday's game. That's code 973 to get a shot at doubling your money. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/prediction-challenge-DFS for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Get started today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, thanks to Sarah Spain. Jason Fitz will join us at 3 o'clock. Paul Hudrick, Bryant McKinnie, Zubin Mehenti, Geoff Mosher. We're jam-packed. It's Super Bowl week. But the Eagles' story is very interesting. Jalen Hurts had something to say. Jalen Mills had something to say. But as we know, nothing still from Carson Wentz. Not happening yet.
I was going to say, unless him not speaking is us being told.
I mean, has he, in your mind, has he made a decision about his feelings on wanting to be here, what's next? Because I was listening to Andrew Brandt's podcast last night, and he was talking about the Goff Stafford trade. And in that podcast, he maintains Deshaun Watson can say all he wants. He's not happy. And he said Ron Wolf, who was the old GM of the Packers when he was with the Green Bay Packers, Andrew Brandt worked with the Packers. And he said Ron Wolf would say to him all the time, I don't care if they're not happy in February. Just make sure they're not happy in December. So he maintains they don't have any reason to trade Watson. They don't have to. They have him under contract. They can fine him. They can penalize him. They have the upper hand here. They do not have to trade him. And the Eagles are in a similar boat. They don't have to trade Wentz. They're just going to have a very unhappy camper. Difference is the Eagles have another option. Houston really doesn't.
Yeah, no, and I think the way that Andrew looks at all this stuff is very logically through a GM's mindset or just from a front office member's mindset when they have these contracts. But we are also, and look, it was a different regime because you had Bill O'Brien there and all, but I just bring up that people make poor choices. So he's looking at it from a logical standpoint. Why would you? You can't. The cap hits too much. But that doesn't stop teams from making poor decisions. They traded DeAndre Hopkins and they got back nothing in return. Like, that's a bad decision. So logically, I agree with him. I just don't know if these franchises operate with the same mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's telling it how it is. Truthfully, there's no reason to move on from them. You don't have to move on from them. The cap hit's too big. But that doesn't mean that they will make a decision that's not right.
Here's the problem that many teams might end up having, though. How many teams are involved in the quarterback chair changing game?
I would imagine a lot.
Yeah, that's the thing is, okay, you don't want to trade Watson? I'll call somebody else.
But I understand what you're saying. But, for example, like Jared Goff was out there. Do you think someone's like, before the trade went down with Matthew Stafford, like the name Goff is like, yeah, it's a quarterback, but are you going to say that in Houston? Like, I don't care if I get rid of Watson. I can get Goff. Like, I think there's only a couple that would move the needle to that degree is my point.
That's fair, but there's also price differences.
For sure. If you're not willing to
pay
give
as
up
much to get Watson, you don't want to trade Watson, I'll go get so-and-so.
That's true. That really is true. And I was thinking about this earlier. Do you think we're overrating Matthew Stafford? Like, there's a lot of buzz about what he is, who he can be, and him getting stuck in Detroit, and that's why he didn't win. Is it possible that maybe he's just like, he's just a good quarterback, and he's not like that? Because people look at the Rams now as, wow, this team's going to win a Super Bowl. Are we putting a lot of value on him where, look, he's a good quarterback, but, to the point of saying automatic Rams can make this legitimate run, is that fair to put all those, all that noise surrounding him?
He has been a very productive player.
Statistically.
Now, that team has not had a lot of success. And you would say, well, if you have a great quarterback, you typically have a good team.
I put him in the same category as like Matt Ryan. I wouldn't be upset if I'm a franchise that had a Matt Ryan career.
Matt Ryan was an MVP and went to the Super Bowl.
Right, but I mean, he had the one Super Bowl blow up. But like his numbers, the numbers and stats pop for these guys more than their winners. Like their individual statistics scream louder than their winning in the league is the way I kind of see it. And that's not a knock on them. You need a whole team to win for sure. But that's where they difference themselves in tiers from maybe the next step is kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Stafford if he elevates the Rams now to championship status. I mean, Goff got him to a Super Bowl. Like, think about this trade. We just assumed the Rams won the trade. By the way, I think the Rams got the better player. Stafford, I think, is better than Goff. But we have no idea what those two draft choices turn out to be. They got a first-round pick next year and the following year and a third-round pick this year. If they hit on three players, 5 years from now, we might be looking at Stafford as an older guy breaking down, and you might say, oh, my God, look what the Lions ended up getting out of that trade. So that trade on the surface today is, well, they got the better player. But this trade will not be able to be judged for 5-6 years maybe down the road.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think many people are looking at the Lions, though, and saying, ooh, they got fleeced. If anything, they're like, wow, I can't believe the Rams gave up this. So I don't think anyone looks at it from Detroit's perspective and thinks that it was a bad concept for them. I mean, look, they got a quarterback that gives you stability. He's not great. He's not awful. He gives you stability, though. He can play the position for a Detroit Lions franchise where the expectations aren't, hey, we demand a Super Bowl right now. So you got a piece that you can work with from the quarterback standpoint, and you got some draft picks. Like, I think the Lions, in terms of like who won, who didn't win, it's way too early to tell, but I think the Lions got a good amount back.
Joe Show watching on YouTube says, I compare Goff and Stafford as the same. Is that fair? Like, is one significantly better than the other? And is it automatic that Stafford's the better one?
Right. And that's kind of what I was bringing up in the beginning. Are we overvaluing Stafford?
The trade amount they gave to get him would suggest he's significantly better. Is that the case?
Significantly to like this elite degree? I'm going to go with no. But I think he's a better quarterback than Jared Goff. Better quarterback than Jared Goff, but not to this like crazy, crazy level.
Yeah, because, look, Stafford has been to the playoffs, what? Ever? Once?
Yeah, I was thinking maybe twice with that franchise. Like, because they were getting there. They just didn't win games. They got there with Schwartzy, right?
He was the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah.
They did get there with Schwartz. He was
Caldwell. Yeah, so okay, got there a couple times.
He was the number one pick in the draft in 2009. Goff was in 2016. Goff has had far more team success as the number one overall pick. Now, the Rams got the number one overall pick by trading there. The Lions were just that bad. But Goff has had way more team success than Matthew Stafford has.
Yeah, and I think the way the organization views that, though, is because of Sean McVay, and that's why they picked the head coach over the quarterback.
The Broncos, Panthers, Bears, 49ers, and Patriots all inquired about Matthew Stafford.
I saw something pretty interesting
and Washington,
about the Bears.
I think, was involved in that too.
Yeah, they offered the late first round pick. I saw
that's
something.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 7 teams that called about him.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, though. I think that he definitely generates that type of buzz. Could you imagine if the Bears traded for Carson Wentz and then you had Wentz and Nick Foles dynamic in Chicago? Because they need a quarterback. And, well, with Doug Peterson here, there was more of a relationship between Matt Nagy and the Eagles, of course. Now that's changed. But I saw some, trade rumors, trade speculation, what could happen, what's something to keep your eye out on. And they threw the possibility out there of the Chicago Bears maybe leaning towards Carson Wentz. And then you got Wentz and Nick Foles back at it again in the same organization.
AK Eagles 88's watching on YouTube says, I've always said that Stafford was underrated. He just was never able to shine under an underachieving Lions organization. Well, one would say, like, I understand that comment, but one would say that a great player elevates everybody around them. I don't know that Matt Stafford is a guy who elevates everybody around them.
I'm not discrediting that. I do think, though, when it gets to Lions level, when it gets to the Houston Texans level, and hell, when it gets to where the Eagles are right now, at least, like when it gets so bad internally, like it's too much on one individual to really change all of that. Like there's a reason why it got to that ugly in Detroit. And it's hard to like demand a quarterback to change all this, the owner problems, the GM problems, the front office problems. It's a lot to put on one guy, but I'm not discrediting that. A great quarterback would win on the field at a different rate.
And now, look, his numbers have been very good. He has had some very good seasons. It's just unfortunate, and I say very good. His best, he had 41 touchdowns and 16 interceptions a couple of years ago. When I say a couple, that was back in 2011. He threw for over 5,000 yards. His next best year, he had 32 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. He's been around that 29, 26, 24. I mean, he's been good. I wouldn't say he's elite or great by any stretch of the imagination.
I think this is going to tell us everything we need to know about Matthew Stafford. If he goes to the Rams and he looks great and they make playoff runs year after year and like they're legitimately in the conversation with Sean McVay and he's playing outstanding, then yeah, he was held back by Detroit and what was going on. If he goes to the Rams and they underachieve and they don't look so smooth and it's just average to above average football, then it's, this guy's just a good quarterback.
Well, what they got for him, he better be great.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Or what they gave up. Because, again, somebody says, hey, the Rams won that trade, and I might say they won it today, but that could change really quick. Because if Stafford doesn't completely outplay Goff, and what happens if those two picks turn out to be really good players? Then you're in a really – you're looking – but, again, this is like the trade the Sixers made when they got that the pick from the Lakers that never materialized because it was protected. And you had to wait like 3 years for the pick to become something. You were like, well, I can't really judge. The Michael Carter-Williams trade. When they traded MCW, and in return, they got the pick swap with the Lakers. Not the pick swap, but it was like a protected pick that the Lakers, if it was like 2 or it was when the Lakers were pretty bad.
Yeah, they were brutal.
Yeah. And we couldn't, that trade never finalized for like 5 years after MCW got traded.
Yeah, no, I do remember that. Yeah, the Lakers were definitely putrid by then. I'm more intrigued, though, to see what does this mean for the Rams moving forward? Because they're going with something that's crazy, right? Like, teams don't give up that many first-round picks. They trade their first-round picks for proven talent. And look, they had the best defense last year. They're not far away from a Super Bowl by any means. They're in the conversation. So it seems on paper. I want to see how this goes moving forward. When will that catch up to them? Will it ever catch up to them? Will they just continue to turn out their first-round picks and trade them over and over and over again? I think it's so unique what they're doing. I'm almost intrigued by how this works out for the organization and the franchise by giving up all of these first-rounders every single year.
Now, there's another one. Stafford played under like 6 different offensive coordinators. It's tough to get better with constant changing of the offensive philosophy. That's fair.
Did you see the report that he was like, I do not want to be associated with Matt Patricia, so I am not going to New England?
I said yesterday,
yeah.
That was the one team on the list. He said, I'd go to any team in the league except for New England. And New England was the place that everybody wanted to go to.
I think it tells you a lot about what was going on there. I mean, he's not the only one. When things happened with Matt Patricia, you saw Darius Slay kind of speak out about things as well. Apparently, it was ran terribly under him to the point where you don't even want to go to him again. That's pretty damn telling.
This guy watching on YouTube wants to know, could you trade Wentz and Ertz as a package deal? I don't think so.
Now, it's going to be hard enough to move Carson Wentz.
I mean, do you think Ertz has value in a trade?
Yeah, I do.
And that contract situation is kind of tricky.
Well, you would know that you'd have to pay. Yeah, I mean, look, are you getting a king's ransom here? No, but I think people are interested knowing how the tight end position is valued. You get a Zach Ertz. I think there's teams that think that they're a Zach Ertz away. You plug a Zach Ertz into a specific offense, you know what I mean? Like, I think teams would value that.
Yeah, but I guess they know that the Eagles are going to have to cut him.
Right. They have leverage.
That's why I don't think you get a lot of value in a trade for Ertz. That's why that question there, can you package them together? It's not like you're going to say, we'll give you Ertz as a throw-in.
Right, because you'd have to pay him to keep him.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like, people like this dead money situation. Essentially, like, the salary cap is $180 million or say. Let's just throw that out there. The Eagles are going to be operating at a dead money of like $36 million if they get rid of Carson Wentz. So it means their salary cap number isn't 180, it's 148 or whatever. 146.
Yeah, that's not even factoring in Alshon, Deshaun. Like, there's other guys that you need to utilize your dead cap money on. Like, that's something you have to do. So you now need to add that on top of Carson Wentz. It makes it even tougher.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I wouldn't expect if you are hoping that Wentz gets traded because of what you saw, because the Rams took a dead money hit here. They got a pretty size. It's like 20 million.
23,
21, 23 million. They did do it. So that's making people say, well, the Rams did it. And they did it with Brandon Cooks a couple of years ago where they took a pretty big dead money cap hit. The Eagles and the Rams, Sal Powell was on with us yesterday. They don't operate the same. They do not operate the same way. So you are not going to see something like that happen. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Coming up at 3 o'clock, Jason Fitz will join us. We go inside the Sixers with our man Paul Hudrick and more. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. And don't forget, watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
We never stop talking Eagles and NFL. It's football at 4. Every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Gill Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Gill customers are so loyal. Gill Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard.
Hey, it's Mike Gill here. Let me tell you about my friends over at Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Yeah, Crazy Cupid Valentine's Day sale is going on Wednesday, February the 10th through Friday, February the 13th. Bernie Robbins Jewelers has a special selection of Valentine's gifts on sale at up to 50% off. There's interest-free financing available and gifts you can get for your girlfriend or wife for Valentine's Day. Yes, guys, Valentine's Day is coming. Necklaces, rings, bracelets, earrings, engagement rings, and select watches up to 50% off. Bernie Robbins offers online chat, virtual appointments, and comfort levels that cannot be matched. Check out my friends at Bernie Robbins.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkhardt pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell, it's gone! Burkhardt, Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tonight after high school basketball.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
What does Schwab's modern approach to wealth management really mean? For starters, it means delivering personal solutions for your financial goals, not ours. It means empowering investors no matter how little or how much they have. And it means providing great service. If you're not satisfied for any reason, we'll refund your eligible fee and work with you to make things right. Guaranteed. Visit Schwab.com/Egg Harbor. Compare us to learn more or call the Egg Harbor Independent Branch at 609-910-4807.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Love makes one do crazy things. Take me. I'm having a 50% off sale, a Crazy Cupid 50% off Valentine's sale with interest-free financing, something we haven't done in years, featuring great Valentine's gifts and engagement diamonds at 50% off with interest-free financing. Shop BernieRobbins.com or go crazy the old-fashioned way and visit one of our stores. The 50% off Crazy Cupid sale ends February 13th. Why the 13th? If you haven't done it by then, I can't help you.
Hey, bro, I don't think I can help you move Saturday. My back is really bugging me. I just don't think I can handle it. Sorry.
Hey, dude, it's John. I know I told you I'd be able to help you move. I think Michelle's really mad at me for something. What's that, honey? Oh, dude, I gotta go. Sorry, man.
Call Clark's Moving and Storage in South Jersey for your next local or long-distance move. Clark's, dependable and always shows up. Call 609-889-0780.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on. This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Gary is refinancing his home, so he shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at AmeriSave.com.
setting him up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision he'll never regret, unlike taking that gig in the testing lab at the deodorant company.
Raise your arm, please. Oh, man, I hate this job.
Pretty regrettable, Gary. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. But maybe you're unaware of new tools that can help your business stand out. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free market competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too. There's no cost and no obligation. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Get started today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
The radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey.
With in front, deflected, they score!
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, hour two of the Sports Bash. It's Super Bowl 55 this Sunday. You can hear the game live on 97.3 ESPN. Our coverage starts at 3 o'clock. I'm Mike Gill. That's Hunter Brody at Brodes81 at Mike Gill Show. Follow us on Twitter. Of course, you could watch the show live. Go to 97.3ESPN.com to watch the show live. So we had a good conversation. Sarah Spain was on with us earlier. That was fun. Check out her podcast. She's talking to The Bachelor, Matt James. That's all right up my alley. Maybe not yours, but I'm in. What I'm not in on is his turtleneck. He's got to get a new look. I'm sure Jason Fitz would agree. He's the host of Spain and Fitz with Sarah Spain and Jason Fitz, who joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline here on the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. Jay Fitz, welcome back, pal. How you been?
Man, I'm good. How y'all doing? And you had Sarah on, so I'm scared. Whatever she said, probably smart, probably true, but I deny it all.
No, but I feel that one of the answers she gave us was a little unclear. So we got to ask you, because I think you'll give us the right answer here. The gentleman who wears the white New Balance with the blue N is blank.
I mean, like in straight dad mode. I mean, this is the only answer, right? Like straight, I gave up on everything, and I'm
there
just
you go. You gave it. That was it. That was the. See, I believe that they are unaware of this situation, but you and Gill apparently believe that they are committing to this lifestyle. I don't think they know they are.
No, the first time that you go like the Kawhi New Balance route, you know that you've taken this step. Like there are certain moments in life you never forget, and the first time that you. Like, as a kid, you never forget the first time you had to go to the Husky section. If you were like me, fat growing up, you never forget when you had to go to that. Like, you realize that there's a spot where, like, the first time that I ever decided I was going to wear socks and flip-flops at the same time out in public because I just didn't care and my feet needed to be comfortable in the moment, I realized what I was doing. I can't give any benefit of the doubt to the New Balance guy. Like, he knows.
Yep, he definitely knows. I would just like to go inside the mind of him saying, I know, and I don't care. That guy, I'm a little worried about.
Well, you got to be like really secure that either you are at a spot where you're so madly in love or so invested in a relationship or so rich that it doesn't matter. Like those are the only three ways it works.
If you are in love and she condones it, then you have the wrong love.
Now that I don't like, I will say this, the first time my wife saw me walk out of the house with flip-flops and socks, I could hear her yelling as I was getting in the car. She was giving me a full piece of her mind on this. And I'm like, I don't care. I got home and I don't think those flip-flops are still in the house anymore. I think she made that very clear.
Now, I asked you this question. Now, I've met you once or twice. And, it was about a year ago. We were at the Super Bowl when we had you on. And I just am making the assumption that you would not go white New Balance blue N. So I took a chance in asking that question. But just looking at your style, I would think that wouldn't be you.
No. I mean, that's a level of give up. I don't have. If I had Golick money, maybe, but where I am in life, I don't have that level of confidence. Like, you really got to have confidence that you are unshakable. You are Iron Man if you can wear that out in public and feel good about it.
Jason Fitz, Spain and Fitz, 7 o'clock, 97.3 ESPN. Last week, we missed you, and I wanted to get your thoughts on where Andy Reid is in the pantheon now of NFL head coaches, because here in Philly, it's a very odd relationship. There are people who he couldn't win the big game. And then even when he did win the big game, it was still kind of but forget that. He's now entering a new level, is he not?
Yeah, 1,000%. And I think that's one of the under talked about parts of what we've seen now. This is a different Andy Reid. And I know we've talked about the 4th and short call that we've all talked about a million times, right? And the gumption that it takes to make that call. But there's a big difference between playing and coaching with fear for failure versus going out there and just gunning it. And that's what this version of Andy Reid has done. And for everybody, that light comes on differently. But, I have to look at Andy Reid and say, hey, the entire way this process went down, not just having Patrick Mahomes, developing Patrick Mahomes, having the courage to get away from Alex Smith when they weren't sure what they had with Patrick Mahomes. Like, the number of times that they made decisions that most coaches that are not comfortable in their own skin would never make. The fact that Andy Reid has become this version of himself almost undoes all of the close but not close enough moments in Philly. And we've forgotten so much of that's not even when he eventually goes to the Hall of Fame and he's that level of coach. When he does, I don't think the Philly story and the negativity that was around it a few years ago is even really told in the same light. It'll be they got so close and they had so many opportunities, and then he got over the hump here, and that attributed to his greatness. At this point, the machine is just going on Andy Reid, and rightfully so. Like, you don't beat the Chiefs by just outplaying Patrick Mahomes. You got to outcoach Andy Reid. That is difficult to do. This version of Andy Reid is on fire.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And we always talk about this. Will we ever see a dynasty like the Patriots again? Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And I think it's crazy that as soon as that's over, and it's not over yet for Brady, but as soon as that's coming down towards the end, here's the next two that can do it, it seems like. And we were kind of going back and forth yesterday. If it was Andy Reid and Aaron Rodgers, I don't think I would feel that they could put together a 10-year run or even more than that like the Patriots did. But it's because it's these two guys, I think it can happen. What say you?
Yeah, absolutely. Sarah said the other night on the show, it's almost unfair to be an AFC fan because you just lived through the Patriots dynasty and it feels like you're at the cusp of a new one. I think that's such a real thing because of the personal connection you can feel. And look, Brady and Belichick didn't always get along, but you understood that they were on the same page. And that's really hard to do. When you watch the way Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes relate to each other, you can feel it from a mile away. Like, you can't fake that level of camaraderie and trust and belief and relationship. And they have it in so many ways that it's impossible not to look at it and say, okay. I mean, I think that the Chiefs are on the precipice of being as good, if not better, than the Patriots were for their dynasty. And they are about to give everybody in the AFC just that beat your head against the wall feeling for the next decade, because they've got smart people running the organization. They've got a great quarterback, a great coach, and they're going to become the type of team that people want to play for. I mean, it's just everything has lined up perfectly for Kansas City, and now they've hit the life home run that will come from a decade plus of dominance.
All right, so this is a tough question to answer. Now, Zubin Mehenti will be on tonight. Full disclosure, I recorded that earlier, and he said something, so you can listen to the full interview at 4:30. But here's the thing he said. He's rooting for Brady because the story. We're in a story business, the better story. That would be 7 Super Bowls. But Mahomes winning back-to-back and then almost becoming the next generation's version of Brady, what's the better story?
Oh, yeah, I totally – and Zubin, by the way, great human being. But he's wrong here. And, I mean, absolutely. The better story for me is Mahomes climbing the mountain. I mean, the fact that Mahomes we almost forget that 3 out of 4 quarters last year, he didn't play particularly well. So this is a different version of Andy Reid. It's also a different version of Patrick Mahomes this year. Like, he has a level of fun in his eyes. He's got that Steph Curry sparkle, right? Like, so for him to come in and just absolutely trounce the Bucs would be, I think, the bigger story, because now you've got the moment of, yeah, Brady got there, but look at the passing of the torch and Mahomes and how great he's going to be for how long. I mean, Brady's not going anywhere, but I think Mahomes really cementing his legacy as the next great quarterback. And look, you guys know I'm a Raiders fan. I grew up knowing that John always was going to kick my favorite team's butt twice a year, and it was going to be difficult to watch. That being said, I've never felt as helpless as a Raiders fan as I do right now, watching the greatness of Mahomes, Reed, and the Chiefs. And that's what they're sitting at the cusp of. That's why I think it's a far more interesting story to see them come in. As they come in and just throttle the Bucs, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibility, the level of hype we'll have to what the new dynasty looks like. And then it'll be which dynasty is going to be better when it's all said and done, the Patriots or the Chiefs. Like, we'll go down that rabbit hole for months. That's what's going to start after Super Bowl Sunday. Better story.
We all questioned, was it Brady or Belichick? And now that we're seeing, Brady's taking another franchise there. But at what point is it going to get? Like, what does Brady need to do? 3 more Super Bowls, 4 more Super Bowls? And I'm just saying appearances, not so much winning them all. Do we go, wow, maybe Belichick didn't really have, like, as much input as we think, to the point where he loses a lot of credit?
I think the only way that Belichick loses a lot of credit isn't because of what Brady does, it's what the Patriots do moving forward. Now, understand that, to me, both of these gentlemen are on very different timelines. So the question of how they are separated for Brady is immediate because he's under the pressure to do it right now. For the Patriots, it becomes, can Belichick build the organization back to where it was or close to where it was without Tom Brady? And that's a process I don't think happens in 1 year. That's a process that I think could take 3 years to really have a great answer to. The Patriots didn't do anything that most teams don't do. They took a flyer on an affordable quarterback and they were wrong. So now the question becomes, how do they build when they get the opt-outs back and they've got more of their roster intact and they presumably have a different quarterback situation? Who are they? If they turn into a 12-win team right away again next year, then I think we could look at it and say maybe it was both of them. Maybe they're both incredible. But if the Patriots become the 7-9 to 5-11 sort of team that stinks year in and year out, while Brady's out here winning double-digit games every year, that's going to be the real conversation. If the Patriots can't win more games, then the conversation will shift to it was Brady all along, no matter what success Brady has.
All right. I want to ask you about this Goff Stafford trade. Everyone's knee-jerk reaction is that the Rams won the deal. But as Field Yates tweeted and you retweeted, they do not have a first-round pick again until after 2023. So Stafford better be significantly better than Goff, right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's the one thing the Rams have basically said, and this is going to be such a great case study for all of us to watch because the Rams are telling you we're going to build without a first-round pick. That also tells you they trust their scouting department to find talent in 2nd through 7 rounds, but it also tells you that they're comfortable being right up against the edge of the salary cap because they're going to be paying Stafford while they're paying Aaron Donald. Everybody says you can't do that. Well, the Rams say you can. So I give them a lot of credit for getting out of a bad contract with Jared Goff and getting rid of a quarterback they signed but now don't love. That's not easy to do. But yes, they're going to have to maintain a level of competitiveness that puts them in the contention to win their division and go to the Super Bowl every year for the next 3 or 4 years for this trade to have worked. And by the way, they're going to have to not hit that lull while all of a sudden they stink, because the bit they go 6-10 back-to-back years, people will say, well, this is what happens when you don't have draft picks. So they've changed drastically the pressure they're under. And by the way, Sean McVay managed to get through signing the wrong quarterback with a free pass. If Stafford comes out and isn't great, how much of the shine's going to go on McVay too? So I think this really changes the pressure that the Rams are under. They don't necessarily have to win the Super Bowl to make it worthwhile. I never say that, but they've got to maintain a very high level of football for the next several years to justify why they did it.
How do you think this impacts Carson Wentz and the possibility of trading him?
That's a great question, because what they just did is change the market for everybody. So as a Raiders fan, I've been asked a lot today about Derek Carr. Well, the market just went up on Derek Carr because he's got a great contract. Wentz's contract is not necessarily a spectacular one, right? We all know that. But the value now, you've seen 2 first-round picks for Stafford. I mean, if you're Carson Wentz and you're Philadelphia, you're looking at it saying that's the starting point for every deal that we're going to try and get done, because Wentz certainly isn't Goff. Like Goff is if you watched any of Goff last year and then saw what we saw at the beginning of Goff's career, remember it was Jeff Fisher was ruining Goff and then McVay saved him. Well, what if Goff hit a ceiling quickly and he really actually just stunk? Now we've seen Carson Wentz be very, very good, and then it seems like suddenly the wheels have fallen off. But if I run the Eagles, I'm looking around saying, all right, in this competitive market where I think Derek Carr can get 2 first-round picks as well, You can't tell me that the value for Wentz isn't somewhere in that range.
Jason Fitz, I know that you have to be highly anticipating the Al Davis 30 for 30 coming up, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm lucky enough to have seen a large chunk of it. I haven't had the opportunity to watch all of it, but very cool for anyone that hasn't seen the story on it. They, instead of interviewing new people, they had people come in and narrate, and they used CGI. So the documentary starts with Al Davis, very Mandalorian here, Al Davis standing in the new stadium. And it's a sort of earth-shaking moment, but it's a great story. And the way they told it, I think is really impressive. Anybody that believes in conspiracy theories between the league and different teams when they battle should watch it. I think it was really well done by the NFL Films people.
That is Thursday night at 9. We'll talk to the producer, Ken Rogers, on Friday after the show airs. And Jason Fitz, of course, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. He's the host of Spain and Fitz. Good conversation, Jay. We'll catch up with you again soon.
I always say it, but I love coming on with you guys every week. Next year, if the Super Bowl drinks are on me, but only one round because I'm very cheap. One round, that's the max.
Los Angeles, here we come. Jay Fitz, appreciate it, man. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. The Sports Batch is brought to you by Matt Blatt Nissan. The all-new Matt Blatt Nissan now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township next to Home Depot. Online, mattblattnissan.com. Yeah, last year in Miami, he must have been making more money.
Oh, yeah?
He was buying us all, a couple cocktails.
Oh, maybe you put it away. Pandemic happened. Lots changed.
That has changed.
Yeah.
But he's been kind enough to join us all year long since our fun time down in Miami last year. I can't believe they're down in Tampa. They have a little bit of Super Bowl week going on, but not a whole heck of a lot.
I was going to bring this up to you. It doesn't even feel like it's the Super Bowl week just because the coverage, it's all via Zoom. It just doesn't have that vibe where there's like 5,000 microphones in everyone's face. And you know what I mean? Like seeing them up at the podium.
The Zoom thing, I can't wait till it ends.
Yeah, it's losing.
Like the coverage with the Zoom and them. I'm that's one thing that you miss.
Does Zoom, do they crash in that market?
Yes. No.
Do you buy stocks in it then and see if it pulls a GameStop on us?
It will. People will still do Zoom meetings and interviews and that kind of stuff. That will still be, but I don't think it'll be as crazy.
Yeah, probably not.
You can watch our show live. Go to 973ESPN.com and just check us out. It's not Zoom. It's like Zoom. It's video. You'll see Paul Hudrick coming up next. He'll be on the video. So if you want to see what Paul Hudrick looks like, you could do that. Coming up next here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Liberty.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
Well, as the world's blandest man, the idea of insurance made for me is almost riveting.
Big fan of beige?
I find other neutrals too unpredictable.
That's cool. Liberty Mutual's just here to protect your home with customized insurance.
And here we've got my doorstop collection.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
This week at Macy's, get 20 to 65% off great Valentine's Day gifts they're sure to love. Give them something amazing from the Effie Diamond and Gemstone collections, now 60 to 65% off. All sterling silver jewelry, 65% off. And more dazzling fine jewelry, 45 to 55%, plus an extra 20% off. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
The COVID-19 vaccine distribution has started, which is why I'm hopeful that a stronger, healthier future is in sight. But we're not there yet. We have to stop the virus from spreading. Take it from me, Dr. Kemi Ali from Henry J. Austin Health Center. Even though it's 2021, my fellow doctors, nurses, EMTs, and all healthcare workers around New Jersey are still fighting this virus on the front lines day and night. And we need you to keep fighting with us. Even though some people have been vaccinated, we all need to keep wearing face masks. Stay safe by staying socially distanced, and go get tested even if you don't have symptoms. Because we all have a role to play in stopping the spread of this virus. So let's do it for each other, New Jersey. Let's do it for us all. Please visit covid19.nj.gov for more information.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 973ESPN.com.
All right, 3:21, time for Inside the Sixers. Paul Hudrick is here to talk a little Sixers. Has had an interesting week this week with Joel Embiid, Player of the Week. Doc Rivers, Player of the Month. Doc Rivers, Coach of the Month. And just so many other stories. We had Furkan Korkmaz on earlier in the week. He had some interesting things to say about this team, and we'll get Paul Hudrick's take on it. He's the host of the Coming In for a Landing podcast. And, of course, you could read more from Paul at 973ESPN.com. Sixers and Hornets tonight here on 97.3 ESPN. So we'll bring Paul in and get his thoughts. A couple of days off, and now they're back. And obviously we've been talking a lot the last couple of days. But one thing that Korkmaz said, Paul, that I thought was interesting was he said when we asked him about Doc Rivers and the change, he said, Doc's a legend. We learn something every day. We're constantly learning something. That comment there was so powerful, though, like that the players acknowledge that's the difference. We're playing for a guy who is a legend. In other words, when he says something, the room, the audience is captivated by it. And I thought that's really what you're seeing now is a team that just has a different belief, maybe.
Yeah. With Doc Rivers, just he has so much cachet. With all due respect to Brett Brown and what Brett Brown did in San Antonio as an assistant and all that, and his experiences in Australia, but like nothing compares to what Doc Rivers has done. Doc Rivers was an NBA player and won a championship. He's been a coach for 20 years, and he's won a championship with three Hall of Fame players that he commanded the respect of. And you see what he even did with the Clippers, making them relevant for maybe the first time ever in the franchise's history. So you can't replace that. You can't replace that cachet and that respect that he kind of commands. And it's noticeable. It's noticeable with every player from Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons all the way down to guys like Furkan Korkmaz and Shake Milton, who just, again, the presence that Doc has and that leader of men kind of mentality and approach he has. And it's not even just basketball. You see it, in how open he's been about, with things surrounding racial injustice and all that. And the guy's just a leader, and he just has that about him. And I think 100% it's played a huge part in what the Sixers have done so far. And I think it's played a huge part in the development of the players on the team.
Yeah. And another thing that Korkmaz acknowledged was the maturity. And he said Joel has matured not only on the floor, but off the court, both on and off the court. him and Ben, that he has no, like, you forget that Korkmaz has been here for 4 years with those guys too. So he has seen kind of their growth, I guess. And that was one of the things when we asked him about the maturity of the team, he bypassed the whole team. He said, Joel, definitely more mature. Ben, more mature on and off the floor. That is, to me, one of the reasons why I think I could try to believe in this team. And what I'm seeing is I feel the maturity. I'm watching a team that is growing.
For sure. And you look at, it's not the be all end all, but just the way they handle the media and their responses to us. You can see that they're a lot more thoughtful, a lot more engaging. And I don't think that's just like a mandate from the team. I think that's just them realizing this is part of it. This is part of our job. We have to face them. When we lose, we have to face the music. When we don't play well, we still have to talk to the media because they are in a way we're the conduit to the fans. So like I think they're realizing the weight and the responsibility they have. And I think it's a function of a lot of things. I think it's how disappointing last season ended and the way that they were kind of scrutinized throughout this offseason and the way that, and it's the consequences of a coach got fired. Say what you want about Brett Brown. They had a good relationship with Brett Brown. They liked Brett Brown. He got fired. And part of that is sure. I think he lost the team. He didn't do the job that he needed to do, but it's also on the players. When a coach loses their job, some of that blame falls on the players. So I think they felt that responsibility too. And then like off the court, Joel Embiid, I mean, he became a dad. You can't understate that and what that likely did for his mental, his mental maturity and where he is. And I just think, yeah, Mike, I think there are plenty of signs that this is not just, of course, like you want to see them carry it throughout the season, but this Joel Embiid, it seems like it's a guy who is here to stay, this version of him. And I think Ben Simmons is right behind him. And we all forget how young these guys are. And I think we're just seeing that they are growing up, they're maturing, and they're understanding the responsibility and the opportunity they have.
I saw that Joel Embiid is not on the early injury report today. Do you see a plan with the way that the Sixers are using him in terms of sitting him out some nights and, playing majority of them? But I just wonder with this back-to-back situation coming up, do you see their plan with his usage?
The funny thing is, bros, I don't see the plan. I don't know what it is. Doc Rivers hasn't told us the plan. And in a weird way, I think that's been a good thing because I thought with Brett Brown, sometimes he was almost maybe a little too revealing with that. And that might have been, listen, I don't know if that was just Brett Brown, if that was organizational. I really don't know. But Doc Rivers, he really is, I want to say almost he plays dumb with it. He doesn't tell us too much. He says, I don't know. I expect him to play, but maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. And I think that's a good thing because you can't really react either way. I think you can't react. You can't say, oh, well, he should be playing, he's healthy, or, oh, he shouldn't be playing because, his back spot. I think he's kind of playing it close to the chest, and I think that's a good way to do it. And I think they're kind of just reacting to how he's feeling. If he wakes up and he's got some tightness in his back or is a little sore, they're like, all right, well, then don't play. It's not worth it. And I think it goes back to that maturity question too, where I think Joel is understanding his body more. And I think he's listening to it and he's understanding, okay, you know what? My back doesn't feel right. I probably shouldn't play tonight. Or, you know what? My back is in a good place. I think I can get through this game. I think I can play it. So we'll see. Does he play in this back-to-back? I don't know. As you mentioned, not on the injury report tonight. So I expect to see him tonight. And they have a tough game tomorrow against Portland. So that's a game that they will need him for. So we'll see what happens. I don't see a clear plan, but in a weird way, I think that's almost to the Sixers' advantage.
Yeah, and I know that they lost that game to Detroit about a week ago, and we were like, and then they win that game against the Lakers, and we're like, okay, and then they win the game without Embiid. So we've kind of had this range of emotions and change. How do you think it will look if they lost the game to the Hornets, a team they've beaten 14, 15 straight times? I think it's going back a couple of years now.
Yeah, especially, the Hornets are a little banged up. Rozier's questionable. PJ Washington, who's been a really good player for them. He's a second-year guy from Kentucky. He's out. He's going to be out for a little bit here. So it's just no two ways about it. At full strength, there is zero excuse to lose to this Charlotte Hornets team on the road or at home, whatever. It doesn't matter. So, yeah, it would not I mean, things happen and it's nothing, it's not a black and white situation. So if they were to lose, it would also depend to me on how they lose and kind of how it went down, but there is no good excuse for it. It's crazy to think about the fact that they could sweep a road trip. I don't remember the last time the Sixers swept a road trip, and they have an opportunity to do that here, and a really good one, with this Hornets team that they should be able to beat. I do worry, you harken back to that Pistons game that they lost. They had a big matchup against the Lakers 2 nights later. Did they maybe look ahead to that? And tonight, could they maybe look ahead to a really good Portland team and playing, against a guy like Damian Lillard? Could they maybe be looking ahead to that? I don't know. So I think that's the issue tonight. It's just focus. They have to focus on this game and win this game tonight, and then they can worry about Portland. So I think that's kind of where we are. That is the kind of the testament of a good, mature team is zeroing in on a game like tonight and winning.
Last night, the Brooklyn Nets, specifically Kyrie Irving, put on a show there. And does that change how you feel about this Sixers team at all when you see a team like that really, go out and make it happen against a good Clippers team?
It doesn't really necessarily change the way I look at the Sixers, because I think Doc Rivers has had this approach, and it's the right one, where he's worried about how his team looks. Because if his team's not playing at his best or at their best, then it doesn't matter what the Brooklyn Nets do if they don't play at their best. So I think that's where I kind of see it. And, they have a matchup this Saturday against Brooklyn. So that's going to tell us, I think, a lot more about how they match up and how that looks, because there's no questioning the talent level of that Brooklyn team and the firepower they have with those 3 guys. Defensively, we've all seen that there are clear issues they're having defensively. I think they have the worst worst defensive rating in the NBA since they got Harden. So that's no small thing. Whereas the Sixers, that's where they're hanging their hat on defense. So it'll be really interesting to me. I am dying to see that matchup of those 2 teams and how they match up, and that defense offense trade off. And will the Sixers have enough offense to win that game, and will the Nets have enough defense to stop them? So that to me is the way I'm looking at it. Is the Sixers, the Nets, the Bucs, those guys, those teams are all kind of the class of the East right now, and I'm really intrigued to see those matchups coming up.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, because we know they have the 3 guys, but their depth is just not very good. And defensively, the Sixers preach defense. The Nets obviously do not. I think when those 2 teams, that will be a clear sign of, all right. And of course, that game's not till Saturday night, but you hope the Sixers don't have any look-aheads, because I think that'll be the sign of who the Sixers team is. Are they looking ahead when they play tonight and they play tomorrow? They play Portland, who's a pretty good team. Charlotte, So are they looking ahead to that Brooklyn matchup? I think we'll learn a lot about this team over the next 3 games.
Yeah, agreed. And they've, for the most part, outside of, they lose that Cleveland game without Joel Embiid. Cleveland's obviously maybe a little bit better of a team than we all thought they were going to be. We already talked about that Detroit game. But for the most part, they have done a really good job of kind of taking care of business. The Charlotte team that they're playing tonight, they beat them twice in those series at home, and they beat them wire to wire both games. That's not an easy thing. Like, I don't care who you're playing in the NBA, to beat a team 2 days apart back to back. That is not an easy thing to do. And not only did they do it, but they, again, wire to wire wins. They took care of it pretty easily. So I think you're seeing signs of growth and maturity from the whole team, in that they are just simply taking care of business, winning the games that they're supposed to win. So yeah, I do think these next 3 games, if they're able to take care of business tonight and then go ahead and beat Portland at home, I think that's a huge sign of growth, that they weren't looking ahead to that big Brooklyn game. Like, we're all allowed to look ahead, because it doesn't matter if we look ahead, but they can't. And so I think that would be a really tremendous sign of growth if they take care of business tonight and then beat a pretty good Portland team tomorrow.
Do we have an update on Mike Scott, who had a setback? I know we stress this a lot, but just because it's the 4 position, I think it is, definitely important that he's not going to be available, and there was a setback.
Yeah, that's what Doc said yesterday, is that, he banged it in practice. I think he was working out on I want to say Monday, and, kind of re-aggravated a little bit. So now he's kind of had a little bit of a setback. And yeah, what that's doing is it's putting more on Tobias Harris and Ben Simmons, because now you don't have a true backup 4. And Doc Rivers likes those all bench lineups. He likes to do that because he likes to get those guys kind of a breather. But when you don't have a true backup 4, you're splitting those minutes between Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris, and they're playing a ton. I mean, those guys are playing a lot of minutes recently, and where that's going to come back to hurt them is maybe later in the season, just the wear and tear that you're putting on those guys. Yeah, it's only like maybe 5 extra minutes a night, but that adds up, and it's going to add up over time. And you need to buy, especially the way Tobias Harris has been playing, the way Ben Simmons has been playing recently. You are going to need those guys to play big minutes, in more important games down the stretch and then in the playoffs. So, and in general, we talked about that. Perhaps that is a position they need to upgrade, is that backup 5 spot, or backup 4, excuse me. So even when you get Mike Scott back, is that position good enough? So, yeah, I think it is hurting this team right now in the sense of those guys being stretched out more. And I think long term, not having that true backup 4 could hurt them, just in the long run.
Check out Paul's takeaways from the weekend. It still kind of holds true. They haven't played another game yet that takes a look at Tobias Harris. Also, a good look at Ben Simmons and how his offense has changed a little bit over the last week or so. That's all at 97.3 ESPN.com. His podcast is Coming In for a Landing. Check that out on YouTube as well. And, of course, right here on Inside the Sixers and the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. All right, Paul, enjoy the game tonight, man.
I will do, Mike. Thanks.
All right, they are finally back, the Sixers. Feel like it's been a while. Of course, you'll hear that game live on 97.3 ESPN. And tomorrow night against the Portland Trailblazers. We'll have both of those games for you. All right, Brodes, when we come back, Super Bowl champion Bryant McKinnie. What a great story this guy is. Woodbury High School, so his local guy. University of Miami, 7th pick in the draft, wins a Super Bowl with the Baltimore Ravens. I think that was a Super Bowl when the lights went out. Was that the Super Bowl when the lights went out? Was that Ravens 49ers? Wasn't that the game?
I don't know. I don't remember.
I think it was. We'll have to ask him. He's joining us coming up on the other side. Don't go away. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And don't forget, you can watch the show live on our website, 97.3 ESPN.com.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell, it's good! Burkott, Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tonight after high school basketball.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Blatt Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced at the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Love makes one do crazy things. Take me. I'm having a 50% off sale, a crazy Cupid 50% off Valentine's sale with interest-free financing, something we haven't done in years, featuring great Valentine's gifts and engagement diamonds at 50% off with interest-free financing. Shop BernieRobbins.com or go crazy the old-fashioned way and visit one of our stores. The 50% off Crazy Cupid sale ends February 13th. Why the 13th? If you haven't done it by then, I can't help you.
Let's start with all the people smitten by a certain sweetheart. Now narrow it to all those lovebirds who kind of let Valentine's Day sneak up on them and need to woo this sweetheart in a hurry. For you, you romantic but forgetful Cupid, Walgreens has great gifts for pickup in as little as 30 minutes. So whether it's a card and a box of candy or a bottle of perfume, Walgreens helps you get sweet gifts in a heartbeat. Aww.
This week, select Russell Stover chocolates are buy one, get one free. Of equal or lesser price, restrictions apply to pickup. See walgreens.com/pickup for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/news. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job at ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And now you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Heard the good news about COVID-19 vaccines? They're here, but you can do more than wait for your turn. Here's how. Stay at least 6 feet away from folks you don't live with. And it's risky to be indoors with them too. And masks? Well, they protect both the person wearing them and the folks around them. Wear a mask, watch your distance, and make a big difference now.
Learn more about vaccines at cdc.gov/coronavirus. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Mako.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Mako.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, welcome back inside the Matt Blatt Kia studios. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike and Brodes till 6 o'clock tonight. Great show so far. Been a lot of fun. Bryant McKinnie's a Super Bowl champion. He won with the Baltimore Ravens, and yes, we did check that out. That was the game when the lights went out against the 49ers. McKinnie, though, is interesting. A local guy. He's from right up the road in Woodbury. Group 1 school. Interesting to see how a guy got noticed at a Group 1 school like that to go and end up being a 7th pick in the draft and then winning a Super Bowl. It's a pretty crazy story, but don't let me tell it. We'll let him tell it. He joins us now on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. He was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings, and he joins us now as the host of the Believe in Vikings on the Believe Podcast Network. He's former Pro Bowl offensive lineman and Super Bowl champion Bryant McKinnie, local guy. Bryant, how you been, man? How you doing?
I've been pretty good. How about you?
We're all good, man. And we like catching up with the local guys when we saw, the Super Bowl week coming up, and that the fact that we're not in Tampa, which typically we would be, it was a little disappointing, but it's cool to reach out and talk to guys who played in this game. Mm-hmm. But first, you are right up the road from us. We're about 40 minutes from you. A kid from Woodbury, Group 1 school, gets to be the 7th pick in the draft. What was that whole ride and that journey like for you, man? That's an unbelievable story. That's a small school, Woodbury.
It is a small school, and I really didn't have anybody ahead of me, 10 years or so ahead of me, that kind of did all that either. So it was kind of like I was the first out of a bunch that done it in a while, like since the 80s, I believe. I went to a junior college called Lackawanna in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Somebody from there. Actually, I was supposed to go to Iowa. So the guy, Frank Verducci from Iowa, came there to visit me after the National Signing Day and was like, hey, let's set you up to go to Lackawanna. It's in Scranton, Pennsylvania, 2.5-hour ride from, Woodbury. And you'll go there, you'll learn how to play left tackle, because I played defensive end in high school. And then you'll come to Iowa on a scholarship. So I was like, hey, free education, I'll go. Now I got to Lackawanna. I learned how to play against an All-American defensive end at the time, so he did nothing but make me better. And after my first season, I became a JUCO All-American at left tackle. And right after that, Hayden Fry retired, and the whole coaching staff was gone, and I ended up now being able to talk to other schools, where before I couldn't talk to anybody, nobody could talk to me. And it kind of just opened up there. So going into my sophomore year at Lackawanna, and going into being a preseason All-American, other schools were able to recruit me. And then during the season, and then the University of Miami ended up coming. I took visits to Arkansas, I went to Syracuse, I went to Rutgers, a couple places, but ended up, landing in the University of Miami. Actually won the national championship there as well my senior year, and then going on to become, the first-round draft pick, won the Allen Trophy, was 2-time All-American there as well. Never gave up a sack during my college career. It was like a lot going on. And at the time, now I look back at it now, I'm like, wow, I actually didn't realize, I just felt I was just doing my job. But I look back at some of the things now. I finished 8th in the Heisman Trophy voting.
Wow.
So I kind of did a lot.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize the whole Iowa part. Just think how different your life would have been if you spent 2 years in Iowa as opposed to Miami.
Very. And very, very different. Yup. So originally I was supposed to go to Iowa. Yup.
Crazy.
And then Hayden Fry retired. So then it opened up things. It would have been a big difference.
Big difference. Now, you were at Miami back when Miami was like, still the Miami that when I'm 44 years old, Miami, you're about the same. Like Miami was, That was everything. You guys kind of brought Miami back to that, and it's not there now. But, man, it must have been pretty crazy at that time playing at Miami as being a part of bringing that whole thing back to where it used to be.
Definitely bringing it back. And when you look back at your teammates, like your Ed Reed, John Taylor, and, like Frank Gore, who's still playing, and Willis McGahee, and all those different guys who was all on your team, and how they had great careers afterwards, like Jeremy Shockey, all those guys. Jeremy Shockey was actually my roommate my senior year. So when you look at all the different people who, you basically grew up with, and you realize how successful they became, in the next level, it's like, wow, we did have a great team.
Making that jump from such a smaller college in Scranton to Miami, what's it like when you go from that to the media coverage, always on ESPN, like the attention? How does that change the way that, you approach everything? Because I can imagine that intensifies a lot.
Honestly, to me, I feel like I liked going the junior college route because it made me tougher as a player, because I'm a player who never missed any games due to injuries or anything like that, because of junior college, we didn't have the training staff like these big colleges had. So even when I got to Miami, going in the training room, I remember my JUCO coach always telling me, you can't make the club in the tub. So that means being in the training room all the time, you're not going to make the team, So that was something I always stayed away from and always tried to make sure I stayed healthy. And that carried over to my professional career as well. As far as the media attention, I just, wasn't really focused on us being on TV as much. You're not thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about it. I'm just out there really just focused on trying to make sure I do my job. Now, the interview part, I feel like I could speak well, and I would think things out before I would say things, so I didn't really have a problem with that.
Bryant McKinnie's our guest. He's the host of the Believe in Vikings on the Believe Podcast Network. He's a Super Bowl champion. We'll get into that game. You get to Minnesota. You're the 7th pick in the draft. And really, for a while there, for a long time, it's probably the best left tackle in the game of football. So what was your time like in Minnesota? Because you won a Super Bowl with Baltimore, but I would imagine you spent more time in Minnesota. You now do the stuff with the Believe podcast. You feel that you're a Viking.
I'm torn between the two. I feel like I appreciate the Vikings because they took a chance on me and drafted me. But then also, I had a great time and a great experience, winning the Super Bowl with Baltimore too. So between the two, I'm actually torn, and I followed those two teams the most.
Yeah, now Baltimore, we were talking about before.
It was hard for me to pick. If they played each other, it'd be hard.
Yeah, and I would guess winning the Super Bowl for one makes it kind of hard, because we've seen guys come here to Philly like Chris Long when he was only here for like those 2 years. Now he won Super Bowls in New England, but they feel like this attachment to Philly. These Northeast teams, like you feel like you have more of an attachment. You're from this area, you know what it's like. The fans here are a little different than they are in Minnesota, I imagine.
Right.
So that game,
see, I was surprised because when I got
so go ahead. You were talking about when you got to Baltimore.
I was surprised that Baltimore actually had some really great fans, and I went from purple to purple. So they always had like something called Purple Friday, and I was like, why they don't have this in Minnesota? Like, you know what I mean? It was just like, it was a little like, but I learned the fact that how Baltimore culture got taken away from them, so like they really appreciated that too. Yeah. But Minnesota, I feel like they're big, sports fans as well, but I just feel like a little bit Baltimore had like a little bit more like not love, but like they just were like really into it, I guess, because of the fact they lost their team before.
You mentioned earlier that you did play on the defensive side of the ball in the beginning of your career, and I just wondered if that helped you understand what to do when you were on the offensive side. Like, did you learn some of the mentalities of being on the other side where it's like, okay, I can help this, and I could use this to help me grow in this area?
A little bit as far as the mindset wise, but then actually when I got to University of Miami and some of the defensive ends I played against there, they were really good, and I would talk to them, ask questions. And then even when I was in Minnesota and I got a guy like Jared Allen that's playing across from me, we both would always have a conversation, and he would tell me where he struggled with or what he was looking for in certain people, and I would tell him the same. And then even when I got to Baltimore, you had Terrell Suggs, and then eventually Dumerville came. So I had all this conversation with those guys. So when I had those guys on my team, I felt like I was playing at a higher level because we were challenging each other, and then we also were sharing knowledge with each other.
Bryant McKinnie is our guest, and, of course, we mentioned this as Super Bowl champion. Talk a little bit about that, because we were talking about before you got on. I was remembering that was the game that the lights went out, right? It was that was the Super Bowl where the whole light thing went out, the Harbaugh Bowl, right?
Yep.
So what was going on at that moment? I mean, I don't know that I've ever spoken to anybody that was a part of that game. And I remember watching that game thinking, these players have to be going bonkers right now.
Well, especially us on the offensive side because, going to halftime is longer because of the Super Bowl. So if you had a Beyonce performance, we blamed her for the lights. So that was a 30-minute halftime. And then when we came out of halftime, Jacoby Jones ran the kickoff back for a touchdown. So then that puts the defense on the field. And then, the 49ers were kind of driving a little bit, but then the lights went out. So the lights was out for another 30 minutes. So you have about a little over an hour of the offense never touching the field doing anything. So for our offense, it was a little worse because of rhythm. Like we had certain rhythm. We had like a lot of things going on because we were leading like Jacoby ran the ball back. It had to be like 28 to like 7. It was a big lead. But when the lights went out, our rhythm was off. Like their offense was on the field already, so they were back into a rhythm. Our rhythm was off because we've been off the field for over an hour. So that's hard. And then when you mentally, you're not sure what's happening because the power's out, and it took them the first like 5 or 10 minutes to let us know like, okay, they're using the generator. You know what I mean? Then you had to start stretching when they said there's 10 minutes left. But it was just a lot mentally, and then momentum-wise, I just felt like as an offense we were starting to lose the momentum because we were sitting around so long for an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. So we basically at a certain point now we're just holding on to the lead. Like, you know what I mean? We're just doing things to try to hold on to the win.
Oh, I remember watching. And by the way,
do so because we had such a big lead.
That game was 8 years ago today, and you could check out pictures of that game of Bryant McKinnie on his Instagram. That game, of course, was in New Orleans. I want to ask you because the Eagles this year had injuries all over the offensive line. I mean, they had 13 different combinations in 16 weeks. And as an offensive lineman, we were trying to, what are the problems with the Eagles? Was it Wentz? Were they doing this? How much is having that many different line combinations factor into why a team would have such a terrible offensive season?
Because it's like you got to be used to the player next to you. So, luckily I didn't have too many changes in my career or the person next to me. But at a certain point, you always want to kind of know. You're already going to know how somebody's going to operate who's playing next to you because you're so used to them being next to you where you don't have the second guess thing. So it kind of makes things a little easier. You know what I'm saying? But when you aren't used to somebody and it keeps being a new person, you have to kind of look over to make sure they're doing their job and then still try to do your job, and it can just throw things off and timing off, and this person might not communicate like the other. It's a lot of adjustments. Small adjustments, a whole bunch of little things can turn into a big thing. And all those adjustments you got to keep doing week in and week out with a new person next to you and rotating lines can be a bit much.
Well, we saw it big time this year, and we're hoping that these guys can stay healthy, and maybe just getting a healthy line can help this team get back to some winning ways, because this was brutal. And as you mentioned, it's not easy to communicate. When you have a different guy next to you 13 different times, which essentially happened to the Eagles, it's tough. Bryant McKinnie, local guy, Woodbury High School. Do you live locally still?
No, I actually live in Miami.
Oh, of course. That's a smart move by you.
I live in Miami. I've been living here ever since.
Yeah, that's a good move by you. Because we got snow all over here. A lot of snow in Woodbury right now. But he's a former Thundering Herd, Woodbury High, Miami Hurricanes, and a Super Bowl champion with the Baltimore Ravens. Check out the Believe in Vikings podcast and check him out on Instagram. He's Super Bowl champion Bryant McKinnie, and he was kind enough to join us here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. Brian, it was great catching up. Good stuff, man.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and great story about the Super Bowl. The fact that the offense is sitting there for an hour and 15 minutes not stepping on the field. Can you imagine?
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you're in the biggest moment of your entire career, and you got that to really face adversity. I mean, geez.
I've always wondered what it was like to play in that game, and it's the first time I've ever, I think, had a chance to talk to someone who was a part of that game.
Yeah, it's wild. It really is. But, hey, it's a lot different when you pull it out, and then it's like, oh, yeah, let's joke about it. But if you were to lose because your offense was out of rhythm so much, it's a different mindset, right?
Yep, that was Joe Flacco against Colin Kaepernick.
Wow.
Think about the two quarterbacks in that game, and you talk about how important the quarterback is. Joe Flacco bouncing around the league, and, of course, Kaepernick has not really played since, hasn't had an impact since that game.
Yeah, and speaking of the Super Bowl, DraftKings now has a golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter the DraftKings free Super Bowl prediction challenge. You can win a free instant prize up to $25,000. The total prize, $1 million. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 973 when you sign up. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, when we come back, football at 4. Geoff Mosher's in the house. A lot of Eagles conversation today. Jalen Hurts, he spoke. Jalen Mills, he spoke. Carson Wentz, not yet. The silence is deafening. What does it indicate? To Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast. We'll ask him coming up next right here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And don't forget, you can watch the show live. Go to our website, 973ESPN.com, through our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter streams. We'll see you on the other side.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tonight for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3, St. Joseph, against number 7, St. Augustine, in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11, Wildwood Catholic, and Ocean City from the Dixie Howell Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tonight. Wildwood Catholic, Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey.
High blood pressure or hypertension is very common and something many Americans have to keep an eye on. In fact, you could have high blood pressure and not even know it. After all, there's a reason it is known as the silent killer. It can put unwanted stress on your heart and can lead to serious health problems such as heart attack, kidney disease, sexual dysfunction, and stroke. Your blood pressure consists of 2 numbers, and these numbers may fluctuate during the day depending on your activities. But new guidelines from the American Heart Association actually lower the threshold that's considered too high. This new definition will result in nearly half of the U.S. adult population having high blood pressure, with the greatest impact among younger people. Take control of these numbers by decreasing sodium, cutting out smoking, and increasing physical activity. In some cases, medication may also help. I'm Robin Stoloff for Health Update.
Brought to you by the Wound Care Clinic of South Jersey in Northfield.
You walk into your favorite store. You go to the razor section, and it hits you. So many options. How do you choose? 8-blade, 10-blade, or a 50-blade razor that requires 2 hands to operate? Dollar Shave Club, which is now at a store near you, has got you. They have a premium 6-blade cartridge designed for daily shavers with short hair, and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. The blades are spaced out a little more for easy rinsing, because more blades isn't always better. Still confused? I told you, Dollar Shave Club's got you, and they do. DSC put both cartridges in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. You might even like both. You might have to shave your face every day, or your head every few days, or maybe once a week you have to shave your shoulders before your girlfriend starts calling you a bear. For more info, visit dollarshaveclub.com/gojo. Again, that's dollarshaveclub.com/gojo. dollarshaveclub.com/gojo. And check out DSC at your nearest store. You got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Let's face it, football fans, 2020 was kind of like... But Unibet Sportsbook is betting 2021 is going to be a bit more like... And it starts with the big game. Sign up for $20 free today, $21 on game day, and two $250 risk-free bets. Let's do 2021 better. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
You have the choice, whether it's going out for dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local businesses.
Ambient Comfort Heating and Cooling Professionals. AmbientComfortNJ.com.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. FillingMarble.com.
Dennisville Fence, serving you since 1952. Be the envy of your neighborhood.
East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Comfort Now by Bob McAllister. Improve the comfort in your home. Call 609-400-1005 and ask about discounts and rebate incentives. Visit iwantcomfortnow.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
The radio home of Carson Wentz, Carter Hart, and Joel Embiid. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents The Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Jeff Mosher.
My personality is I want to win badly. I want to win more Lombardis for Philadelphia and our fans. We got the greatest fans around, and I will do everything possible.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Blatt Kia Studios. This is Football at 4.
And Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast, and it's brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelyle.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle M. Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. I heard we should have got a snowblower sponsor for you there, Moshe. I've heard you got the dust off the snowblower yesterday. How many times you use that thing?
Only once, Mike, only once, but it was the first time I've used it, and it's 3 years old, so kind of lets you know.
Yeah, that's a shame.
Well, it's kind of funny because yesterday he was talking about the snowblower. I said, it's funny you bring that up because Moshe texted me and said he hasn't even used. You said, I finally can use my new snowblower that I got 3 years ago, and he's ripping all these people that get sucked into the snowblower.
You're a smart guy. How did you get sucked into buying a snowblower living in this area?
Well, first of all, I didn't buy it. I got it as a gift.
Oh, okay.
As most suckers go, you just when you get something as a gift, you don't have to.
That's a great.
You don't
gift.
have to worry about putting out for it. So yeah, it's good.
Gives you that gift. That's a great gift.
All right, so this changes everything then. All right.
Yeah,
there
absolutely.
You go.
You got a free thing that you didn't. It's a luxury. It's like taking a tight end at number 6. It's a luxury.
Now, Moshe, do you help out the neighbor next door with the snowblower? If you see them shoveling, you go, hey, Nancy, I got you. Don't worry about it. Or, hey, Jim, it's on me. You go drink your coffee.
I did snowblow not only the sidewalk in front of my house, but as both of my neighbors as well.
That's a good point. The fact that you are the guy on the block that got the snowblower, you got to go around snowblowing everybody's front yard.
I do feel that responsibility. I'm willing to take it on. They say with great power and great machinery comes great responsibility. So,
all right, Jeff. Obviously, there's a lot to dive into today. Last night, Jalen Hurts spoke. He was talking a little bit about the quarterback situation. He was a little vague. Jalen Mills also spoke today. I don't want to say he was a little bit more clear, but he did give a little bit more of an indication. Those two guys have talked. One guy who hasn't talked is Wentz. So I want to ask you, now that the dust has settled on this Goff deal and everything is kind of, there was 8 teams that called them, do you feel any differently about Wentz's position or the Eagles' team position on where this whole thing kind of stands right now?
Do I feel differently is a good question. I guess I've always felt all along that this was a very murky situation that didn't seem to teeter one way or another heavily toward comeback or not come back. But I will say that Carson still being silent throughout a coaching change has shown you that his grievances with the organization were not just relegated to Doug Peterson, right? Because if it was just about Doug Peterson, then clearly when Doug Peterson was fired and when a new coach who was hired, who's been an understudy to Frank Reich, and we know how Carson feels about Frank Reich, you would have thought that would have been the gate opening to Carson wanting to express a desire to return or speak freely now that Doug Peterson's not here. The fact that Carson remains silent in this situation makes me feel like he still has issues with the organization as a whole that are not just relegated to Doug Peterson, and that if he has these issues and he has these problems, that he's still trying in his way by being silent and doing whatever it is behind the scenes to move on somewhere else. Right. And at some point, the Eagles have to make that decision of whether they want to do that or not.
Right. You just start to think now, was it this prickly relationship between him and Peterson, or is it the entire organization itself that before it was like, okay, we're hearing that him and Peterson were having trouble. Okay, we'll eliminate Peterson. Well, now it's almost, okay, Peterson's gone, and he still hasn't really said anything. Maybe it was more than just Doug Peterson.
Yeah, and I don't think that they fired Doug Peterson. I mean, I know they didn't fire Doug Peterson because of Carson Wentz. I know some people felt that was going that was their solution. Right, to appease him, correct. Nor did they hire Nick Sirianni per se because they felt he was the best person to fix Carson Wentz. I don't believe that to be true either. I think these are just moves that have been made with the Carson Wentz issue still hovering around them. So clearly they've got to come to some kind of decision soon, you would think, as to what they want to do, how they want to approach the situation. Do they want to have a guy who's not happy still be on the roster and try to hope that it works itself out, or do they want to make a move?
This is clearly not the same level as what happened with Pittsburgh, but with Antonio Brown, it just ended up being so much. It's like, we got to get rid of this guy no matter what the cap hit is. Like, at what point are the Eagles in the same position where it's, you know what, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be the dead cap hit, but enough is enough with this. I don't know how we move forward until this drama is gone.
Well, forget Antonio Brown. The Rams just did it with Goff. They just said, we'll take the 20+ million dead cap hit because we don't think you're good enough.
Yeah, and in that situation, they were able to.
Mosher, they did it with Brandon Cooks the year before. They traded him and said, we'll take the dead cap hit because for whatever reason they didn't want it. They got the Rams are another team with huge dead cap money.
Yeah, no, you make a good point. And in the case of Jared Goff, right, I mean, they were getting Matthew Stafford in return. It had already been agreed upon with Matthew and the Lions that they were going to be headed for a divorce and kind of starting over in Detroit. So it was easy. I don't want to say easy, but the Rams had a clear target that they could work with, a partner who was willing to make them a deal that would make it worthwhile taking that big money hit that they're taking and getting rid of Goff. I don't think it's that, cut and dried with the Eagles. I don't know if there's a partner that's willing to give them something of such great value that they say, all right, well, this is worth taking such a massive cap hit, the biggest in the sport's history. It doesn't mean that something won't be done. It just, to me, complicates it a little bit more than, say, the Rams-Detroit trade.
So at this point, there's 8 teams that made a call for Stafford, right? Does that tell you that that's a positive or a negative for the Eagles that so many teams are looking for quarterbacks? Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, that should work in the Eagles' favor. Obviously, Matthew Stafford, the team wasn't doing well, but it's not like his years, even his down ones, are as bad as the one Carson just had. So it is a little bit different. But I think what helps out the Eagles' case here, if they really do want to move on, is that this isn't, I would say, a really well-regarded class of quarterbacks. Of course, there's Trevor Lawrence, who's a great prospect, and he'll go number 1 overall most likely. But after that, you're starting to get some question marks with Justin Fields, and then the kid from BYU, the kid from North Dakota State. Adam Kaplan reported on our podcast that dropped this morning that at the Senior Bowl, the consensus was that the quarterbacks there were not, knocking anybody's socks off. So it's not like there's going to be 5, 6, 7 quarterbacks that everybody's chasing after. And even the ones that are going to probably go after Trevor Lawrence, the 3 or 4 that do, probably come with some question marks as well. So if you're a team like the Colts or a team like the Bears, if you're a team that's looking for a quarterback but you're not drafting in the top 5, then it probably does make some sense to give the Eagles a call and see what it would take to get Carson Wentz.
Yeah, and I guess that's the big question. What would it take to get him? I mean, what is the Eagles' expectations? Because knowing the cap, knowing the dead money hit, would that make you ask for more to make it worth the dead money hit? Or are the Eagles at the point where this guy hasn't said anything, we can't get along, we don't need this headache? If someone's going to call us and make a reasonable offer, we'll take it.
Yeah, this is Howie's strong point. Making deals is usually what he does best. Independent of the contract and the dead money is the idea that more than one team might be interested. So if Howie can at least create the perception, if it's not reality, that there are multiple teams that are looking to pry Carson Wentz away, that helps his case as far as getting maximum in return. Now, there has to either be that case or teams have to believe it. And honestly, for all the reasons we just mentioned, it's pretty believable that Howie could get a market of at least 2 or 3 teams willing to get Carson Wentz. It's just, can he create the perception, if not the reality, that these teams are willing to give up something of great value, like a first or a second round pick?
I just think, about Wentz, how does he win in this situation? This organization committed to a rebuild, brought in all these young coaches, and you're naturally going to have growing pains in that scenario, but he's the most heavily dissected guy in the city right now, and he is demanded to go out there and perform, or else he's going to get destroyed. So, how do you win if you're Carson Wentz with everything you have on your plate?
It's tough right now to come back to the situation unless you play the best football of your life, because even if you have a bad game, you know how it is around here. There's going to be he's not the guy we thought. He had a bad game, 2 picks, bring in Jalen Hurts. And I think that when you add that to the equation, Hunter, it does make it feel like it's time to move on from Carson Wentz irregardless, because it's almost like he's set up to fail here, or that he won't be given a fair shot. Or imagine having to beat Carson Wentz and have to compete for your job, quote unquote, compete for your job next camp. I do, though, think that other situations are going to be difficult for him too, Hunter, unless he goes to, I feel like he'll probably fit better in a small market, less scrutiny. The Indianapolis thing seems to make the most amount of sense because of his relationship with Frank Reich. Sounds like they're bringing Press Taylor in. So will that be the best for him and his development? I don't know, because some of the issues with Carson are very real. His coachability, his stubbornness, what he has to do to be a better quarterback, and what he's willing to embrace. But at least if he went to a different team, a small market, a team like Indianapolis has a good roster, good offensive line, good running back, good receivers, good defense, good coaches there. So much like last year, what you saw him do in December, last year as of 2019, maybe he can be the Carson Wentz he wants to be, which isn't perfect, but there's enough around him for him to succeed.
Jeff Mosher, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. And, of course, last night Jalen Hurts was on with CBS Sports HQ, and he was asked, kind of took a diplomatic approach, but he was asked who starts, and he says, that's a great question. I'll tell you that I'm putting the work in on my end, trying to build those relationships with my guys. I'm excited for this offseason, just excited to take that next step. So regardless of what's what, I'm challenging myself to be the best quarterback I can be, learn from my mistakes from last year. Personally, in those 4 games, I got my opportunity to get my feet wet and take off next year. It's not what he said, but is it the fact that he said something that says, I'll be the leader of this team, I'll speak up and say something? You ask me about it, I'll at least talk about it.
Yeah, I think that's been pretty consistent with Jalen. He came in as a guy who was highly regarded for being a leader, for handling the situation that he handled at Alabama very well, the benching. He stayed, he competed, he tried to beat out Tua. It didn't work. I know that there's this knock that, he's just like Carson Wentz because he transferred, so he quit. No, he stayed there and tried to compete for the job. It wasn't until he lost out again to Tua that he wasn't going to be the quarterback. Then he went to Oklahoma, obviously was a Heisman finalist there. And so he came to the Eagles with quite a pedigree of being a leader, of being a type A as a quarterback, everything that you want in a quarterback as far as leadership and intangibles and things like that. The question is now, guys, is that you're dealing with a totally new and fresh set of eyes in judging him, at least from a coaching standpoint. Nick Sirianni and his staff, we have no idea how they feel about what they saw as they're watching tape, how they feel about it in Jalen Hurts. And then also what we're dealing with, if Carson Wentz is not going to be here, what kind of compensation are you getting? You already have the number 6 overall pick. Will Howie and Jeffrey decide that it's imperative to put those resources back into finding another quarterback? Or are they sold that Jalen Hurts is the guy? I think there are a lot of meetings and discussions and conversations that have to be had. But certainly if you're Jalen Hurts, you're going to operate under the assumption that you're going to be given every single chance to win that starting job next year.
My question is, do you think that the team set that interview up, or did somebody get him around the team? Why would Jalen Hurts be granted an interview to speak in that situation? What's the message there? Yeah, we'll let Hurts speak. I mean, to me, I thought that was the most interesting part of who got Hurts? Who let him talk before Wentz got a chance to say anything?
It's a good question, Mike. I don't know that the team even knew that he was doing the interview. Perhaps they did. I don't know what avenues CBS went through. They could have gone through the agent. This is the Super Bowl week, and I know that there's no Radio Row, right, at Super Bowl this week.
There is a Radio Row, but it's very skilled.
Well, real quick, he's speaking again tonight with Kay Adams on Instagram Live. The NFL just tweeted that out tonight at 8 o'clock. So he will be speaking again tonight.
Wow.
So that's what I was getting at. Even though that Radio Row may not look like what it normally looks, this is the week normally where you would see everybody who's anybody in the NFL doing their interviews, pitching their products, working with so forth and so on. So it doesn't really surprise me that Jalen Hurts this week has a couple of interviews lined up, but I also I don't put any stock as this is something that the team is trying to do to get him front and center to send any kind of messages.
Well, Jalen Mills was also talking away on the same platform, and he says that he thinks they should let Wentz and Hurts battle it out for the starting job. So now he's a free agent. He's not definitively back with the Eagles, but now you have somebody coming out and saying, I think they should battle it out. You don't want to pick sides, but now you're almost telling the team, you can't just give this job to Carson Wentz. I think they got a mess on their hands coming here, man.
I mean, there's certainly the locker room sentiment that you'd have to factor in to what, and like Hunter was saying before, is it, can he come back to this locker room and still have the same respect from his teammates?
Let's ask this hypothetically, Geoff, Hunter. Would you want to come back after all this? Whether you loved it here or not, would you want to come back? You said it, Geoff. The minute he doesn't play a good game, he has an average game. They're going to call for Hurts. I mean, this guy's in a no-win. You're almost you almost feel bad for him, but you don't want to feel bad for him. But it's he's in a no-win situation. The only way he can win people back is to be the 20s, even if he's the 2018 or 19 version of himself. That won't be good enough.
Yeah, there's two ways to look at that, Mike. You can certainly struggle here and be under the gun and come back, kind of like the way Michael Vick did when Chip Kelly became head coach, because certainly Vick had struggled those last 2 years, gotten hurt. Foles had taken over at the end of his final year of Andy's career, but he was able to come back and at least try to repair it because it was a new coaching staff and the criticism that Michael had taken, he was able to handle it, but he wasn't looked at in the locker room differently. I think that might be an issue for Carson Wentz here. But to answer your question, if you were to take that out, I mean, Carson Wentz does have, 20 some odd million reasons to want to come back and play well here, because once the trade is made, the guaranteed money drains, he gets the guaranteed money, but what about the rest of the contract? Because once that trade is made, he's essentially operating on a 1-year deal where a team can cut him afterwards. So it's good that he got all that guaranteed money, but there's a lot of money left on the contract with the Eagles. So it's financially best for him to come back to this team, play well, and see all that money that is not guaranteed, that is in the contract, that he can't assure himself going forward with another team.
Yeah, I mean, we are heavily focused on the Wentz angle, which makes sense. But, if you're Jalen Hurts, what are you possibly thinking? Does it matter what I do? Like this guy's just possibly going to get handed the job back while I deserve it. I mean, I'm sure a lot of backups feel that way. Hey, I want a chance and all that. But this is so unique and so different. Does it even matter what he thinks, though? Does it matter about his perspective? Because money talks, and this league is all about the business side of things.
Yeah, not really, Hunter, to be fair. I mean, he's a second-round pick. He was, 1-3, and not that quarterback is a wins or as a quarterback stat. He was a flash player who flashed at times and then obviously did not play well in the last 2 games at other times, and I don't think he has any right to say that I should be handed the starting job, much like going back to when Chip Kelly took over in 2013. You brought back Mike Vick. You brought back Nick Foles. You called it a quarterback competition, even though it really wasn't. There was always going to be Michael Vick's job. But it's not like Nick had deserved anything because he finished out that last year, that disastrous year. I think they were 1-5, even though he played decently in some of those games. And I think it was the Tampa game that he won on a touchdown pass to Jeremy Maclin at the last second. I think that was that year. But the bottom line was he didn't deserve anything. He was a 3rd-round pick as a rookie who was put into a situation. So Jalen Hurts should only be concerned with reporting to OTAs, ready to go, know the offense, ready to improve on last year. And if he's good enough, good things will happen for him.
Geoff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast. One of the topics you guys hit on was Lane Johnson. It was like a forgotten guy. What do we know about Lane and his health and where he's at for the 2021 season? Because one of the things I said on the show is you get Lane Johnson and Brandon Brooks back, you got a different look on your offensive line. We just had Bryant McKinnie on, and he kind of echoed that, it's not easy to have a new guy next to you every single week. I can understand why that would be a problem. Well, the Eagles are hoping they don't only have 2 guys playing next to each other. They get 2 pretty good guys playing next to each other. But what's the status of Lane?
Yeah, it sounds like everything is positive. Adam Kaplan reported on the podcast that we dropped this morning that he's either off of his scooter or supposed to be off it soon and has been feeling great in his comeback. We know how difficult last year was. He had a very late surgery. It was the tightrope surgery that impacted how he was able to prepare. And then in the middle of the year, he made a comment when he got hurt for good that the ankle kind of imploded on him or collapsed on him. It was something that sounded very gruesome for an ankle injury. I'd never heard that kind of terminology used before. So he had to undergo another surgery. Thankfully, the surgery he's gotten, it's past him. He should have, up until training camp to continue to rehab on it. We'll see if he's ready for training camp, but the fact that he was able to get this taken care of, unfortunately it helped kind of corrupt this past season, but at least he should be good to go by the time next season starts and you get your anchor right tackle back.
Good stuff. Check that out. More detail from the guys at the Inside the Birds podcast, which dropped today. I want to get your opinion real fast, Moshe, on the last 2 days. We've learned that the Eagles requested no interviews with the Chiefs guys, Bieniemy, Kafka. Any particular reason in your mind why they were not interested in either one of those guys? 2 names who seemingly were at the top of the favorite list when this process started.
Yeah, that one's been tough to figure out. There's a little bit of a conspiracy theorist in me that people seem to think that the Eagles weren't interested in those 2 guys, and I wonder if they didn't ask because they were already told those 2 guys were not interested in them. I don't know that for a fact. That's just me kind of throwing it out there. But obviously, the last guy from Kansas City who went over to the Eagles just got fired after he went to the playoffs 3 times and won a Super Bowl. So clearly, if you're coming from that chain, you have a little bit more inside knowledge on how that organization works than maybe a guy like Nick Sirianni or other people. And so I don't know what happened there. I don't know why they weren't interviewed. I have a hard time thinking the Eagles suddenly don't want someone from the Andy Reid chain, which has been not only good for them, but also around the NFL. But I have less of a hard time believing that the Kansas City chain looks a little at the Eagles situation with a side eye.
Yeah, you wonder if McDermott and Reed got together and said, let's bar any of our assistants from going to play for Howie Roseman. That could be a conspiracy theory.
That's a good one. I like that. We should all run for Congress.
Yes. All right. The Inside the Birds podcast dropped this morning. Is this the last week for Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Or are you guys still Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
We will be Monday, Wednesday, Friday this week. After that, we do switch into off-season mode, and we will be dropping Monday and Thursday at 6 a.m.
Monday, Thursday, 6 a.m. starting next week, but every day football at 4. Free agency is coming. We will be all over that. The draft, we've already started to touch on that with Andrew a little bit. What would you think if the Eagles took a tight end at number 6?
Oh man, I'm best player available. If they're telling you he's the best player that they got on their board,
but if you
number
were
6,
if you were willing to take a wideout, why would you not then be willing to take a tight end?
Well, it just depends, because are they going to be then play a lot of 12? I would hope that if they did that, then they're going to be a 12 personnel team.
Didn't he tell Spadaro that he would prefer playing 12 personnel? That's his style.
You know what? He said in Indianapolis they liked it when they had some good pass catching tight ends, but they also had injuries at the wide receiver position. But if you go look last year, they were more of an 11 personnel team than a 12 personnel team. So, and I don't know if that's because some of their tight ends got hurt. I know, Mo Ali Cox did get hurt for a little bit, but they also had Pittman that they drafted. They had T.Y. Hilton, who was hurt a little bit. It seems like they were a lot like the Eagles, going back and forth between 11 and 12. But if this kid's going to be a playmaker, I just look at it weird, because it seems like the history of taking a tight end in the top 10 does not normally work out for teams.
No, Rich Kotite took Kyle Brady when he had Johnny Mitchell. That didn't work.
I remember.
Didn't work out very good. All right, check out the Inside the Birds podcast. The latest edition dropped today. And, by the way, someone just commented on the stream. I'll pop it up there for you, both, so you can see it. But Marquise Goodwin, do you know his status?
It's a great question. Well, I'm going to dig into that a little bit more. Didn't he come on a 1-year deal?
Yeah, but if you opted out, did that mean that the contract, what's the status of a contract on an opt-out?
I'll look into that. Next time we're on, I will have a better answer for that question.
All right, there you go, Adam. Good question, because this is the third time I've been asked that today, and I'm not sure the status of those contracts of the opt-out people. I know they got paid, but they didn't get paid. They got paid like an opt-out fee. Like it was like, here's $500,000 for opting out or choosing to opt out. All right, Jeff Mosher, you look like you're going to need to use your snowblower.
Thanks. Do we have 0 glitches today, right?
I was
0?
about to say that.
No glitches.
0 glitches today.
I'm back in the same spot. I was doing it with all the glitches, so I don't know.
It's funny, though, because we were on a Zoom, a call earlier today, Mosher and I was getting nothing. I didn't see any. There was video streaming, and I got none of it. Like, anytime something, I was like, oh.
So was your Wi-Fi?
Apparently for that.
It must be. It's not me. It's you.
Look at that. I invented this. Not you. It's me. There it is.
All right, man. Take care.
See you, fellas.
All right. He's Jeff Mosher from the Inside the Birds podcast, and it is brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to iloveLyleBack.com, 856-MAKEOVER, or Dr. Lyle M. Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. And, of course, we got a lot to do. Coming up on the other side, my conversation with the host of KJZ, Zubin Mehenti, will join us here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. I want to tell you about my friends over at Bernie Robbins Jewelers. The Valentine's Day sale now is going on. Sometimes Valentine's Day creeps up on you, fellas. You don't want to miss it. They're doing the first company-wide half-off sale in 15 years. Interest-free financing is available. Gifts you can get for your girlfriend or wife this Valentine's Day. Necklace, rings, bracelets, earrings, engagement rings. Select watches up to 50% off. It's the perfect time to save on diamonds and engagement rings. Men's watches, brand names you'll recognize. Buy online now and get up to 50% off at BernieRobbins.com/Cupid. Receive free 2-day shipping, too, so you can get it fast before Valentine's Day. But the most important thing of it all is you tell them Mike Gill from the Sports Bash sent you, and they will take fantastic care of you. Harvey's my guy. They're my guys at Bernie Robbins Jewelers. It's Valentine's Day, guys. Do not forget that, because I know what will happen to you then. You'll be outside with a snowblower. All right, back with more Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Carter Hunt gets over and makes a great save.
The Flyers host the Boston Bruins. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN and listen live on the free mobile app.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Blatt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Blatt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattblattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of an old park or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Blatt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattblattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Nissan wants your trade. Bring it in today and help us celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online. We want to help with your credit approval. And don't forget, with Matt Blatt, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Celebrate the all-new Matt Blatt Nissan online at mattblattnissan.com. Credit may affect terms. Negative equity will be refinanced to the new vehicle. Get all the details at mattblattnissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed. Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit ILoveLyleBack.com.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has the technology, supplies, and furniture you need to upgrade your workspace at amazing prices.
Like right now, select chairs are 40% off.
Plus, when you buy any office chair, get 25% off all desks, file cabinets, chair mats, bookcases, and lighting purchases.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples. See staplesconnect.com for details.
Ends 2/27/21. In-store only while supplies last. Curbside available at most stores.
This season's hottest collection is dropping to a dinner table near you. Meet the new Golden Standard, Church's new Texas tenders, accessorized with butterfly shrimp. Snag your Texas tenders and shrimp meal for just $5. Church's, bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
You can watch the Sports Bash live now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Search 97.3 ESPN or visit our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. It's the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Super Bowl 55. We'll have it for you Sunday right here on 97.3. And, of course, so much going on. You hear him every weekday morning, 6 to 10 right here on KJZ. He's the host of the show, Zubin Mehenti, who, of course, directs Keyshawn and Jay Will. It's been a lot of fun hearing you guys. And, of course, here in the Atlantic City market, we've seen and heard you for a while, Zubin, so it's good to have you back on our airwaves. How are you, man?
It's great stuff. Yeah, I was there probably, after shows how old I'm getting. It was actually half my life ago. I was 21, 22, just coming out of Rutgers. I'm a Jersey guy. I grew up in New Jersey, as you know, maybe some of your listeners know. But that was half a lifetime ago. But it was great fun. It was awesome to get out there in Linwood. And, it's you never know where your career will take you. So it's great to be able to reconnect with you, Tom Williams, all the guys over the years. But it's going to be an awesome Super Bowl. It's going to be an awesome Super Bowl. I think, it's strange, the Lakers and the Lightning and the Dodgers are probably going to have to be able to live with the legitimacy and the scrutiny of whether their championships are going to hold up 20 years from now. But I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard anyone say, maybe you have, I haven't heard anyone say that the winner of this Super Bowl is not a legitimate Super Bowl champ. It just goes to show the NFL, again, is so different from every other sport.
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great point, Zubin, but it feels like the NFL season had the most normalcy to it. They didn't have you had that wonky little stretch where the Steelers had to play on some random days, but that really only happened one time. Like baseball only had how many games? Basketball had to hit the pause button. Hockey hit the pause button. They played in bubbles. football played like a normal season, which makes this Super Bowl feel normal.
I would say two things to that. The NFL was ridiculed for trying to be bullheaded, pig-headed, stop being so stubborn. Don't you know the world has a virus? I actually feel like they won in the end. And as you know, the NFL is no stranger to criticism, so it's no big deal to them. But I think they have the right to, and we've got to cross our fingers, hope we get to Sunday. Everybody's being tested every day. We saw what happened with the two guys on the Chiefs, Kilgore and the other guy on the reserve COVID-19 list. But you got to give the league credit. From August 1 to January 23rd, so basically, up until we saw the last teams play, up until the start of training camp, however you want to call training camp, the league conducted just under 1 million coronavirus tests, like 954,000, like 370, something like that. And remember, at first, there was balk. It was like, we're not testing every day, and they did it. And we had DeMaurice Smith on our program this week, the NFL executive executive director, and he said something really interesting. And he said, you have to understand how difficult it was. The owners are aligned, right? We got to play, we want to play, and we'd love to have limited fans, and all 32 were in agreement. But what Smith said was, listen, I got players that are opting out for just health reasons, pure health. And then I got players opting out because they're immunocompromised. To your point, the Titans did something they shouldn't have done, and it cost the Steelers, who did nothing wrong. I got guys making a ton of money that don't need to play this season. I got dudes on rookie deals. I got practice squad, taxi guys, 55 guys instead of 53, all different sorts of money. I got so many dueling constituencies that I have to deal with, and they kept it all together. And I think the NFL, the players are often at loggerheads. They're often conflicting. But I think in this particular case, even though they're at each other's throats a lot, they all came together and they made it work, and they did it when very few people thought they could. So I think that's a great point. They were able to get it done. 256 games over 17 weeks. Like you said, the Chiefs and the Bills had to play on like a Monday afternoon, and the Steelers were pushed. They had to play the Washington football team on a random day, but it all got in. And I think if you would have told me that at the beginning of the season, especially with the way the sport is close contact, a lot of people would have been shocked, I think.
Zubin Mehenti is the host of KJZ, weekday morning, 6 to 10, 97.3 ESPN. Big topic of conversation this morning was the Eagles and their quarterback situation. It's really going to be a huge topic of conversation, I would imagine, all offseason. Now that we saw Jared Goff traded, we're all waiting for the next quarterback domino to fall. All eyes are here. You guys debated it all morning, or a lot of the morning anyway. Jay Will says Carson Wentz should get his damn job back, and others believe there should be a competition. But how do you feel about what's going on with Carson Wentz, who at one point was the president of the United States, was telling people to get on the Wentz wagon, and now everybody wants the Wentz wagon to dissipate?
Yeah, North Dakota nice doesn't feel so nice right now. I would say that. Let me ask you a question. One thing that I want to just ask you this. I'm going to see if your listeners think it out. I'll definitely weigh in. We have been vacillating whether we think Nick Sirianni is unimpressive in public speaking engagements. I understand. Me and you talk for a living. He's a coach. He's not, he's probably nervous. He's never been a head coach. We've been debating on the show whether when you hear these sound bites and the audio that you reference where he's talking about what the quarterback situation is going to be and what his offensive philosophy was, we sort of kind of as a group came together and said, I think he's nervous, but he doesn't really come across very well when he's speaking. Is that something that you guys have talked about, or are we overstating?
No, you're right. And here's the way I kind of look at it, though. I don't know if you guys brought this up or not, or if anybody really has. How weird must it be to get up on a podium in an empty auditorium and to do this? Like, here's your biggest moment of your life. You're the head coach, and there's nobody in this. Why did they put him in this empty auditorium? I don't understand why they would do that. Like, looking out into an empty arena, it's not an easy thing to do. So I feel like they set him up to be in like they could have put him at a desk in his office and had a computer screen in front of him to do the Zoom call. He didn't have to be standing at a podium in an empty auditorium.
I agree with you, but it's funny. Like sometimes first impressions are weird. I remember years ago, I was doing Sports Center long before I did this radio show. So just a couple of years. We started the show in August. So a couple of years ago, I remember when we had a coaching interview in a Sports Center setup where one of our reporters was talking to this brand new NFL head coach. And I'm sitting there and I'm working with my team, our team. And I remember I said, we watched it and we're like, all right, how are we gonna get this into the show? And the first thing I remember saying was like, man, this guy is just, man, he's super nervous. Like he's just stammering all over the place. And of course it was Matt LaFleur, right? I mean, 13-3 back-to-back NFC Championship game appearances, brink of the Super Bowl. So you never know. Based on your thoughts, he always says, follow the money. To answer your initial question, sorry to take us on a detour, but I just thought it was interesting to get your view on that. He just said, listen, follow the money. And that, I mean, you know what that means. That means Wentz is going to start. He's going to get every opportunity to start. I thought Jalen has handled this extremely well. I'm a big college football fan, so I've always admired what I call Jalen's slow heartbeat. You know, everything that happened at Alabama, started as a true freshman, and then the transfer, going to Oklahoma, everything that he's been through, it just doesn't seem like everything or anything is too big for him. And I think going through what he has and handling it the way that he has probably allowed this early tenure to look pretty darn good. But Key's bottom line is, you know what they have invested in Wentz, you know what the 128 is all about. And if that's the deal, then that's what's going to happen going into training camp. Sirianni did sort of, I guess, intimate, if we put his words together for him, that it looks like it's going to be an open competition. I guess you could extrapolate that. I think that's fair. What is he going to say right now anyway? He's not going to tip his hand, obviously. He needs to see them both. But Key has always said, you know, listen, it's follow the money. Key said it. He goes, listen, James Harden's getting traded, man. It's just a matter of when. Don't listen to the Rockets tell you we're going to try to work this thing out. When an athlete says he doesn't want to be there, number one, he's not going to be there. Or number two, if it's a money thing, always follow the money. It's a pretty obvious statement, but I think it's something that's worth remembering here, considering the disparity between these two guys financially.
It's always, you know, and I don't disagree with him. It's just such an odd situation that there are so many guys this season. You know, you got Deshaun Watson, not happy. Okay, but he's under contract. You got Carson Wentz. Sounds like he doesn't want to be here. All right, but you're under contract, and you're like, how many of these guys who are unhappy can realistically get moved? It's it's like half the league wants to get a new quarterback, or half the quarterbacks in the league feel like they want to get moved.
Yeah, so Adam Schefter, our NFL insider, had put out a tweet not too long ago that said he thinks the over-under is 18. Listen to this, 18 of the 32, and he would take the over. All right, it's 2 down, 16 to go, and Deshaun certainly looks like he's probably on the move. Jimmy G is unlikely to be back. And then there's like the toss-ups, like Drew Lock in Denver. Like, who knows? Like, I mean, like that's like a classic. Matt Ryan, is he too old? Drew Brees is probably going to be retiring, so that's another one you could put there. And what's going on with New England? And it's slowly but surely, you're like, man, that's a lot. Like Tua, I mean, they all start just adding up. Big Ben, I mean, they all just start adding up. And Adam, I was like, 18, that seems like a lot, but you could see it happening. The one thing I would tell you that I think is really interesting about all the quarterback movement this year especially is, to me, like, and I don't know about you, like, I look, oh my goodness, Goff and Stafford. But to me, look, Goff, 4 years, 3 playoffs, a Super Bowl. And people are like, thank goodness we got rid of him. Like, I'm not sure Matt Stafford can do any better than that. I understand Stafford's on a 2-year deal, but if Matt Stafford plays for the Rams for 4 years, and I think it's reasonable to say maybe they make the Super Bowl, but there's a reasonable chance he's not going to even be able to do what Goff did, which is go to the playoffs 3 times and get to a Super Bowl. So I think everybody that thinks the grass is greener and needs to move on, I think sometimes you need a reality check.
Yeah, it's a good point. Now, Sal Powell was on with us on Tuesday's show. I know he was on with you guys today. He mentioned yesterday how the Rams and the Eagles have played this so differently, and they backed their coach, got rid of the quarterback. The Eagles backed the quarterback, got rid of the coach. The coach who, by the way, had beaten McVay multiple times, has won a Super Bowl, had been to the playoffs multiple times, and yet the Rams stuck behind their coach and the Eagles let their coach go. And it just shows you how different organizations view things in different patterns. And Philly is definitely a tough place to make decisions, because I don't know that dumping the coach was the perfect move or the right move, but they will be highly scrutinized if this doesn't work out, if Sirianni, in fact, can't handle this.
Yeah, and then you throw on top of it, like, what if he bombs out? They could have had the enemy, and obviously, Eric ended his playing career there. I mean, there's all sorts of things. Here's the thing I would say with regards to those situations that you mentioned with Doug. and with Wentz. It just goes to show you, and I understand we're living in a society now. Like I'm 42 going on 62, man. I don't do any social media. I'm an old guy, but old soul. And I understand something that got posted 15 minutes ago on Snapchat is like ancient history. But I would say in the NFL, it just goes to show you how quickly things change in their world. Like, look, I mean, 5-6 years ago, since we've crossed over to 2021, but barely. I mean, 5-6 years ago, Cam Newton was unstoppable and was the MVP of the league on a 15-1 team. And now it's like, I'm not sure he can be a starter anymore. That's a half decade. The guy's 31 years old. You got a 43-year-old guy playing in the Super Bowl. Here's a guy that's 31, half decade ago was the MVP. And it's like, now it's like, does anybody want him? And I think it's the same thing with the Eagles. Not too long ago, from the outside, it's a model organization. You know what? They pushed Howie out. Now Howie's back in. Howie's drafted so well. Wentz, they moved up. They got him. Doug Peterson, the former Eagles quarterback. Everything's coming together. The Philly special. And now it's just like just a handful of years removed from that, even less time than obviously the Newton situation. And now people look at them as a dysfunctional franchise when not too long ago, this was the model of how you do it. Howie drafting, picking guys, letting Doug make it work. And all of that stuff, it just clicked. And it just goes to show you how fast. Look, I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo completes a pass to Emmanuel Sanders, I mean, we look at Jimmy G totally differently.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes might even not have that Super Bowl, right? But things happen, and when things happen, the residuals you just can't predict.
KJZ airs weekday mornings at 6 here on 97.3 ESPN. Real quick, before we get your thought on the Super Bowl here, Joel Embiid, the Sixers, last year was the most miserable season that you could have imagined, but this year feels a lot different. Does it not feel different nationally?
So Jay Williams, who does a lot of NBA for us, he said his MVP, number one, LeBron, number two, Joel Embiid. Watching from afar, I mean, and maybe you know him because I know you guys cover all the Philly teams. I think Brett Brown had a lot of Kenny Atkinson in him. I think you're just miscast. Like, I don't think Brett Brown was ready to deal with a whole bunch of superstars. I know the Morey move was made and all that, but I guess what I'm saying in a roundabout way is I think Doc Rivers has really made a huge difference. I mean, Doc has been there, done that, championship with a star Celtics team. Whatever you think about the Clippers and their collapse last year to the Nuggets in the playoffs, it's still a star-studded team. He still had to maneuver and massage a ton of egos. Well, Brett Brown might be a great coach, and sitting next to Popovich certainly makes you smarter. I just don't think that he was just miscast. He was just completely miscast in that role as the team finally got to where they needed to go. Embiid is playing great. His health is always an issue. He still hasn't played every game in this young season, if I'm not mistaken. So it's always going to be something with him. But I do like the way they're going. Jay thinks he's the second place in the MVP discussion. But I really think the difference has been the coach.
All right. Tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock, KJZ. He's the host, Zubin Mehenti. And, of course, it's Brady Mahomes. Who gets that Super Bowl trophy?
I'm rooting for Brady, as you and I are both. You know, we're now in the storyline business, right? So you want the best story. I'm rooting for Brady. I'm a sentimental old guy. I just think it would be an amazing story. One of the great stories in NFL history, not necessarily one of the great teams in NFL history, but one of the great stories in NFL history, if they could do it in their own stadium, never once running out in front of the fans, and just a strange year, at a point where, you know, Brady put up four fingers once in Chicago, didn't know what down it was, did the worst loss of his career to the Saints in the stadium they're going to play in on Sunday. They're the 5 seed. Yeah, you know what, maybe next year for the Bucs, maybe next year when they get a regular offseason. And it's been great. Love all of that. Nobody wants, I mean, look, man, if there's 2:08 to go and we got the 2-minute warning and you see either guy trot out onto the field to try to win the game, as much as I love Patrick Mahomes, nothing would be more juicy than to see Tom try to lead an 80-yard drive if they get it to 25, 75-yard drive. It would just be amazing. Setting all that, I think the Chiefs win a close game. I think the Bucs got to make it like an 8 or 9 possession game. The higher the possessions go, I just think they're in big time trouble. Chiefs offensive line is kind of weird. Bucs defense has been great. I'm rooting for Brady just for the story, nothing against the kid Mahomes, but I think the Chiefs pull out a tight win.
Well, just think the alternative is if Mahomes wins, he starts to build towards Brady, and that chase begins for our story maybe next year. He's Zubin Mehenti, 6 a.m. He'll be back with the guys on KJZ right here on 97.3 ESPN, and he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Zubin, it's always great to catch up, man. Thanks so much.
You got it. We'll do it soon.
All right, Zubin Mehenti here on the Sports Bash, and don't forget, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. Guys had a lot of Eagles conversation this morning, and, of course, they have a lot of Eagles stuff to talk about with this crazy offseason that's going on. All right, plenty more to go. 5 o'clock hour, the guys will take you through. I got the game tonight. I'll have you on the air at 6 with Steve Parker, St. Joe, and St. Augustine. I'll be back at 6. Josh and Hunter will take you the rest of the way here on the Sports Bash.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tonight for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos, number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic and Ocean City from the Dixie Howell Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tonight. Wildwood Catholic, Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
Start the new year in a new Kia at Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River or Egg Harbor Township today. The new year is an opportunity to set new goals and start fresh. And at Matt Blatt Kia, our goal is to get you out of that old car you hate. Come in today or visit us online and get the credit you deserve this new year. 0% APR financing available for up to 75 months on new 2021 Kia Sportage LX SUVs in stock. Plus, Matt Blatt Kia in Toms River and Egg Harbor Township wants your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth. Plus, you can't make a mistake with our 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
Offers with approved Tier 1 or 2 credit through Kia Motors Finance. Not all will qualify. 0% based on 1516 per 1,000 borrowed. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details. Expires 2/4/2021. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. And now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Let's start with all the people smitten by a certain sweetheart. Now narrow it to all those lovebirds who kind of let Valentine's Day sneak up on them and need to woo this sweetheart in a hurry. For you romantic but forgetful Cupid, Walgreens has great gifts for pickup in as little as 30 minutes. So whether it's a card and a box of candy or a bottle of perfume, Walgreens helps you get sweet gifts in a heartbeat. Aww.
This week, select Russell Stover chocolates are buy one, get one free. Of equal or lesser price, restrictions apply to pickup. See walgreens.com/pickup for details.
When you support your local small businesses, it helps keep your neighbors employed, helps kids save for college, and strengthens your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts local businesses in the spotlight.
Ambient Comfort Heating and Cooling Professionals. AmbientComfortNJ.com.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. FillingMarble.com.
Dennisville Fence, serving you since 1952. Be the envy of your neighborhood.
Comfort Now by Bob McAllister. Improve the comfort in your home. Call 609-400-1005 and ask about discounts and rebate incentives. Visit iwantcomfortnow.com.
East Coast Roofing, Siding and Windows. Services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media South Jersey.
Get a refresh with your refund during Maaco's tax season event for expert paint and collision repair. Use our contactless services. It's as easy as book, quote, fix. Better get Maaco. Visit Maaco.com today to schedule your free estimate. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennig along with Hunter Brody here on 97.3 ESPN. Filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, we are live here in the Matt Blatt Kia studios on 97.3 ESPN. Big game this Sunday. Zubin Mehenti was talking about it. Bryant McKinnie was talking about it. And I know that you are talking about it, Brodes.
Absolutely. And this weekend, you can make a lot of money with DraftKings. DraftKings now has a golden ticket giveaway with up to $55 million in prizes up for grabs. All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter the DraftKings free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. You can win a top prize up to $1 million. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code 973 when you sign up. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 973 ESPN. You can watch the show. Mike Gill is on his way to St. Augustine Prep. It's the Battle of the Rodeos tonight at 6 o'clock. Paul Rodeo versus his son. So St. Joe's, St. Augustine Prep. Here all the action coming up at 6 o'clock right here on 97.3 ESPN. We got Dave Weinberg's going to join us, a very special edition because he usually joins me on game night at 5:20 tonight in the next hour. So I'm just kind of migrating to an hour earlier. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, see, I'm confused. Is this still the Sports Bash, or are we transitioning to game night?
It's
because I want to be part of your show. Like I feel honored to be part of game night. Like now, is this you joining the Sports Bash? Am I joining game night? I'm in a pickle right now.
Well, it's both.
I don't like that answer. We need to be 100% something. We can't be in the middle here.
Well, we kind of have to because of high school basketball.
I don't like it. Where's the program director?
He's driving.
That's right.
He's Hunter Brody. I'm Josh Hennig. Of course, after high school basketball today, we have Sixers basketball versus the Hornets, followed by Flyers hockey. You guys haven't talked much hockey today. I know that's to your chagrin, but you guys were very busy talking about turtlenecks and New Balance shoes earlier.
Well, you know, that's how the pecking order goes sometimes. New Balances, sweaters, and then Sixers and Carson Wentz, and then the Flyers all the way down at the bottom. But
which is a shame because the Flyers, you could argue, are the second best team in the city right now.
No, for sure. Look, they got 7 wins when playing super ugly in their first month. They got destroyed by Boston the last couple of times they played them. So this is a big game tonight, and they got all the eyes on them.
Of course, that's tonight here on 97.3 ESPN. Following Sixers basketball, Josh Hennig filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, Mike Gill will be on the call at 6 p.m. St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joe's Hamilton right here on 97.3 ESPN. We got one more hour to go of the Sports Bash still to come. We'll get more into the Eagles, the Super Bowl, and much, much more in the next hour here live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can watch the show. Also, the text board is open, 609-403-0973. Also live on the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. Josh Hennig, along with Hunter Brody here in the Matt Black Kia studios on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell, it's good! Burkott Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tonight after high school basketball.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Love makes one do crazy things. Take me. I'm having a 50% off sale, a crazy Cupid 50% off Valentine's sale with interest-free financing, something we haven't done in years, featuring great Valentine's gifts and engagement diamonds at 50% off with interest-free financing. Shop BernieRobbins.com or go crazy the old-fashioned way and visit one of our stores. The 50% off Crazy Cupid sale ends February 13th. Why the 13th? If you haven't done it by then, I can't help you.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Let's face it, football fans, 2020 was kind of like... But Unibet Sportsbook is betting 2021 is going to be a bit more like... And it starts with the big game. Sign up for $20 free today, $21 on game day, and two $250 risk-free bets. Let's do 2021 better. Unibet Sportsbook. Crazy about the odds. Must be 21 or over to play and physically located in New Jersey. Restrictions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on.
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Everyone loves shopping online. Well, I'm going to tell you what I tell my golf buddies when they buy clubs. Stop searching for coupon codes. Download Capital One Shopping to your computer. Capital One Shopping instantly searches for available coupon codes and automatically applies them at checkout. Plus, it's free, and you don't even need a Capital One card to use it. That's like hitting a hole-in-one without even trying. Capital One Shopping. It's kind of genius. What's in your wallet?
Savings and available coupons vary.
Chrissy is refinancing her home, so she shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at Amerisave.com, setting her up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision she'll never regret, unlike wearing tap shoes to a surprise party.
Sorry, guys. Just trying to find the perfect hiding place.
Pretty regrettable, Chrissy. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it. With new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
When you support your local small businesses, it helps keep your neighbors employed, helps kids save for college, and strengthens your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts local businesses in the spotlight.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, King County's community bank.
Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelylback.com.
Egg Harbor Independent Branch Leader at Charles Schwab in the Consumer Square Shopping Plaza.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. Visit fillingmarble.com.
Intuitive Women's Health in Summers Point, accepting new patients. Schedule an appointment today online at intuitivewomenshealth.net.
East Coast Roofing, Siding and Windows services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
The radio home of the 76ers.
Into the lane, reverse windmill jam. Are you kidding me?
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
Josh Hennick filling in for Mike Gill, along with Hunter Brody, live in the Matt Black Kia Studios here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, text board is open at 609-403-0973. 1 hour from now, you hear Mike Gill on the call. St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joseph Hamilton, the Battle of the Rodeos, right here on 97.3 ESPN tonight. Still to come this hour, Dave Weinberg, veteran Eagles writer. We'll get into the Eagles and the NFL with him in about 20 minutes from now. We also got your text board messages, 609-403-0973. Also, we got your comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. By the way, Jeff, Bone, and Pookie on YouTube says, I like how Brodes has bro in his name.
Ooh, I never thought about that.
How do you feel about that?
That's cool. I'm with it.
By the way, what's up, Jeff? Jeff also said, what up, Josh? But
yeah, you get some love, too. It's not just about Brodes here.
I thought that was a great point by him, though.
Yeah.
It's got bro and Brodes. I mean, you know how many times I'm listening to Anytime Hotline calls and I can't tell if they're saying bro or Brodes?
I would imagine they're probably going Brodes 90% of the time. But you're right. Some people do use bro like that. Oh, what's up, bro? I don't know. They're probably not on the Anytime Hotline. They're probably saying Brodes, I'd imagine.
Yeah, for the visual evidence, Jeff did say hello to me as well. So
yeah.
There you go. You're watching on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I am filling in for Mike Gill just for the hour. Mike has got to go to the high school basketball game. He's got to travel to the location. He's got to set up the equipment. He's got to then broadcast the game. It's It's not, this is not a ESPN in Bristol with a whole production crew traveling so the guy can just walk in, sit down, and not do any work. No, Mike's actually got to do some work here. So that's where Mike is.
Are you saying that he normally doesn't do work?
No, what I'm saying is that Mike Gill is not Dave Pash or somebody who is broadcasting a big time game where their only job is to broadcast the game. He's got other things to do as well.
Just wanted to verify.
Yeah. I'm very clear in my thoughts and opinions.
Is Jalen Mills?
Jalen Mills is very clear. Carson Wentz is silent. And I like the fact that you guys talked about that earlier because the article's up at 973ESPN.com. Those of you who know, Jalen Mills was asked about a lot of things yesterday. And I got to say, he was much more open than Jalen Hurts was. Now, I get it. Jalen Hurts, he's the quarterback. He's got to have a certain level of etiquette, blah, blah, blah. But before we get to these Jalen Mills cuts, what does it say to you, Brodes, bro, that Wentz hasn't said anything, Hurts is spoken very delicately, and then Jalen Mills just come out and says what he said? What does that say to you?
Now, to be honest with you, I don't care what Jalen Hurts says. I don't care about Jalen Mills. The biggest part of this is Carson Wentz at this point. Like, I don't think whatever Hurts said, which was all player speak and all, that doesn't impact how I feel about Wentz. I don't hate it anymore. I don't like it anymore. Like, I have my feelings on Wentz at this point, and I don't think anybody talking is going to change that unless the person speaking is Carson Wentz. And to be honest with you, I'm done with it. And I've been a supporter. You know, Gill and I went back and forth all season long. Whose fault is it? If you fix some of the pieces on this team, would Wentz play better? If you rolled him to the right, would Wentz play better? And I truly believe the answer to those questions is yes. But now there is too much involved. There's so much that is now packaged together with this story. Malcolm Jenkins is speaking about how the organization handled his ego and how bad it was for this team. And there is just way too much involved where I'm done with it. It is just time to move on, eat the cap hit, do whatever you have to do. That's ridiculous, and I'll be okay with it. But it's time to move on from Carson Wentz. I can't deal with it anymore.
First of all, the whole idea that Malcolm Jenkins is speaking out about what's going on with the Eagles, isn't that in and of itself a little ridiculous?
Are you saying that bothers you that Malcolm Jenkins is saying it, or it describes how ridiculous the situation is?
Situation is.
Okay.
I need to hear from Malcolm Jenkins, who hasn't played on the team in a full calendar year, to know about how dysfunctional this situation is.
It's a good point.
Like, that to me is ridiculous.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. You know, a little bit of me thinks the other way too. It's like, okay, Malcolm, like as you alluded to, you haven't been here for a year. So who are you to start talking about the ego of some of these guys?
Maybe part of the reason why he's not here is because of some of the situations here.
I think, some of the situations, yes. The Carson Wentz one, I don't think that's the reason why Malcolm's not here.
No, I see the bigger issue. Jeff Mosher was on with you and Gill an hour ago, and he said, listen, the fact that Carson Wentz hasn't spoken out, to me, is a sign that this wasn't all about Doug Peterson, that maybe Carson Wentz's issues go above and beyond. And we know that Malcolm said it to Mike Gill right here on the Sports Bash on Super Bowl Row last year. He wanted to come back to Philadelphia. And all the reports were that the Eagles were not willing to give Malcolm the contractual commitment that he wanted, financially or in years length. So you have to wonder, maybe if Malcolm Jenkins' opinion and happiness with the situation was different, maybe he would have been a little more open to maybe a little bit of a different kind of contract. And maybe part of the reason why he's so willing to be vocal about the situation now that he's not here is because in his mind, he says, I'm not thrilled about how I got treated out the way out the door. I know how dysfunctional things are there from top to bottom, and I'm going to say something about it.
I think that's reasonable. I mean, to act as if this dysfunction just came out of nowhere and it just happened just because of Carson Wentz, I don't think is justifiable. This is something that happens in domino effects. And, I think it goes, people like to look at the Super Bowl and say they don't know how to handle success. I think it might even go to the Chip Kelly era because that was when Howie Roseman gave this guy walking in the door all this power. You don't move on from Howie Roseman, but you put him away and his voice isn't as heard as much. And that was the first time he gave someone, like, besides, obviously, Andy Reid, different situation from Chip, but he allowed Chip to have all this say without really having that NFL resume to support it. And you haven't seen a coach since him have say it's been Morey. So I think that's where he really changed his mindset, and that is when the downfall really occurred. So it's been going on for quite some time.
Now, I mentioned Jalen Mills. He spoke to CBS Sports HQ. He was asked about the reports about Wentz and Peterson. Here's what he said.
As a player being inside of the locker room and seeing, the coaches and players every day, you hear, the media and different things saying, as far as, Carson and Doug not getting along. But, I didn't see that. I seen guys, coming to work every day, putting their hard hats on regardless of, what happened, the Sunday before.
He distinctly says, I didn't see that. Now, he knows more than we do, okay? And you'll hear in the next couple cuts that we play for you that he's not afraid of a question. He wasn't dancing around any questions. He didn't say, I don't feel like answering that. He just gave open answers to every question he was asked in this 8-minute interview. So if a guy who's open to questions is saying, I didn't see it, you kind of have to wonder, maybe Jeff Mosher was right. Maybe there is something bigger going on between Wentz and the organization.
I think that's definitely happening, but I also want to throw this out there. He's on the defensive side of the ball. Now, he obviously would understand this team dynamic, how the offensive players feel and all that, of course, but I just wonder, because he's somewhat farther away than Jason Kelce, Lane Johnson, I don't know. If you're on the defensive side of the ball, is your connection as strong? Do you read the post the same way if you're on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to the relationship between Doug and Carson?
Maybe, maybe not. I think you're right. You have to consider that. That is something you have to think about. I just wonder, because there were no reporters in the locker room this year, something that I've talked with Scott Grace and other guys before on game night. Nobody in the locker room this year. Nobody in the Nova Care Center. It's hard for the reporters to really know what did or didn't happen if they weren't in the actual building.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, there's little side stories you can pick up on, grabbing someone that isn't available to Zoom calls that you would maybe, pull away from their locker for a second, get a couple questions in. You lose a lot of that feel. Reading body language is another one. So there's a lot involved that you miss out on just trying to understand where this team is emotionally, physically, all around.
Now, Jalen Mills was asked. This was the final question of the interview. He was asked about the Eagles starting quarterback situation. All right. Now, I broke this up into two parts for a reason, because there's two separate elements to what he said. Here is the first element. He discusses Wentz and Hurts.
And we know that he didn't play up to that this year. He knows that, he's a fiery competitor, a guy who wants to be perfect at everything that he does. And then you got a guy like Hurts who's, a leader, a guy who's won at Alabama, he won at Oklahoma, and then he came in and he had a really, really good rookie season, even though he started late during the season.
Wentz is a fiery competitor, but Hurts is a leader. I don't know, man. That might be a little hidden message right there to say, listen, Carson, we know what Carson is. Carson didn't play up his expectations this year, and he knows that he's a fiery competitor. Let me tell you, this guy Hurts. He's a leader. That's saying something to me.
It definitely stood out to me. I do think that he maybe overvalued how well Jalen Hurts was playing. He said he had a really, really, really good rookie season. I don't know if it was really, really, really good rookie season. But
I don't know if I'd even use the word really.
Yeah, right. He had an intriguing skill set that you saw, but is it something that is going to be sustainable? I don't know. I look at it as him more, not so much a franchise guy to move forward with, but a stopgap kind of guy where you can figure out what you want to do and still stay relevant and not fall off with them kind of thing. But I do question this. And by no means am I saying Carson Wentz relates to Tom Brady. But Tom Brady is a fiery, competitive guy. Would you put him in a category of fiery, competitive guy?
Tom Brady, yes.
Okay. Is he a good leader because he is a fiery, competitive guy?
It's an element of it, yes.
So I'm just trying to put it together. You saying about a quarterback, well, he's a fiery, competitive guy. And then you call the next guy a leader. I'm just trying to figure out, what does that mean? Are people leaders based off of that fiery competitiveness, or is that totally something different? Can it be a combination of both? Like, what does that mean exactly?
To me, you could be a fiery competitor and a leader, because what makes Tom Brady, as you mentioned, that guy, all right, is, I don't know if people know this. Tom Brady introduces himself to every teammate.
Yeah, as if he doesn't. Yeah, because people always joke around as if new guys come in and they're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" As if no one knows that that's Tom Brady.
He literally goes up to every person. Hi, my name is Tom Brady. He endears himself to his teammates. He makes himself one of the guys. I've heard multiple former Patriots talk about this. Tom Brady is one of the guys. He may be the greatest of all time, but he was still a 6th-round pick, backup quarterback at Michigan on the national championship team, had to earn his way in the NFL. He still thinks of himself as one of the dudes. I don't think Carson Wentz has endeared himself to his teammates in that way. Okay, sure. Fletcher Cox, he goes fishing with him. Okay, whoop-de-freaking-do. I don't care if you go fishing with one guy or hunting with another guy. At some point, Carson Wentz has not shown himself to be one of the guys. Now, whether that's purposeful or just environmental, that's a different conversation. But I think there's a huge difference between when Tom Brady screams at somebody or if Carson Wentz is angry, screaming at Press Taylor on the sideline.
Oh, no doubt about it. I mean, that just comes with the success that Tom Brady has had, too. When he yells at you, it's like, you know, this guy knows everything about winning. When someone who screams at you who doesn't have that type of resume, the message isn't as clear. It's not as strong. So it definitely changes. But it's funny. Gronk was actually asked about Tom Brady. I don't know if you saw this or not. And it was like, what's the difference from Tom Brady in New England and Tom Brady in Tampa? And he kind of talked about the locker room stuff is, well, like different personality, maybe a little bit more open to having some laughs. Because, you know, when you go to New England with Tom Brady, you know what it's all about.
Right.
But when you're Tom Brady going to a new environment, you don't want to have that same type of, he has the same intensity, but it's a little different considering he's the one now entering a whole new identity of himself. But it's just funny. It's for Gronk. I'm sure he's in his stall like, that'll never happen in New England. He could see the differences for sure.
Now, here's the second part of what Mills said. Because remember, the original question was, who's going to be the starter for the Eagles? So he starts out by saying, this is who Wentz is. This is who Hurts is. Then he drops this on you.
I think you let those guys battle it out, man. During camp, you know, you let those guys battle it out, and whoever is the best man, you know, that's the guy who's going to be your starter day one.
Let them battle it out. Now, I remember Nick Sirianni. Did he not say we're about competition, right?
Every position.
Every position. I think Jalen Mills is buying into that concept, but will Carson Wentz?
And I'll say this when it comes to that. If you're bringing him back, then yes, the only way to do it is in open competition. I don't think he needs to be back. I think it's the sort of like what I brought up with Mosher football 4. It's the Antonio Brown thing where you just got to sacrifice your cap hit, do this. I know that sounds ridiculous, but at some point, someone crosses the line so much or a story goes so far, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's fair or unfair, there is a breaking point when you cross that line. And this Carson Wentz line is so past that there's no coming back from it. So I think you need to eat what's going on here, sacrifice it, and you're going to have to move forward in another direction. I don't know how you get back on the right foot. The only way is if he plays 2017 version. I thought Gill brought up something interesting. If he plays like he did in 2019, I still think the guy gets absolutely destroyed. It was a good 4-game run at the end. It wasn't that outstanding. Now, stats will tell you, 4,000 yards, no receiver over 500, yada, yada, yada. But we saw the context. We saw the game itself. It didn't play out that beautifully as the stats show. It's a lose-lose situation for the guy. I don't think you can move forward with him. You got to find a way to move on from Carson Wentz. And it's killing me to say that because, you know me, I've supported him for years.
He's Hunter Birdie. I'm Josh Hennick, filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Mike Gill will have the call of high school basketball at the top of the hour. St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joseph Hamilton right here on 97.3 ESPN. The 5 o'clock hour of the Sports Bash is being brought to you by Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Shop the Valentine's sale now at BernieRobbins.com. Coming up next, because there's no game night today, Dave Weinberg, generous to join us an hour earlier here on 97.3 ESPN. Look at his thoughts on Wentz, Hurts, the Eagles, Jalen Mills, the Super Bowl, and more, all right here on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle City. And we are live in the Matt Black Kia Studios on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just follow 97.3 ESPN.
It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey tonight on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app with Tim Saunders and Steve Coates calling all the play-by-play action.
Carter Hunt gets over and makes a great save.
The Flyers host the Boston Bruins. Coverage begins after Sixers basketball. It's Philadelphia Flyers hockey on the radio home of the Flyers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN. And listen live on the free mobile app.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shar-Pei rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal.
DINOVITE.com.
People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
A message from your neighbors and friends at First Bank. We've been serving residents and businesses of Sea Isle City and the surrounding communities for more than 130 years. Today's challenges, while unique, are another opportunity to show our strength and resilience. Our commitment to you remains strong. Whether it's using our drive-through services, bank by phone, the First Bank mobile app, or online banking, we're staying strong with you. Be safe and be secure. First Bank, here for you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on.
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents and Doug.
Okay, class, let's bump it up to 9.
Come on, Limu, keep pedaling. We got to build our endurance to let more people know that Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need.
Pick up the pace, bird legs.
Hey, don't talk to Limu like that.
I'm not, I'm talking to you.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Get a customized quote at libertymutual.com.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. 0. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Mako.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Mako.
The Sports Bash with Mike, Gill, and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
Josh Hennick filling in for Mike Gill alongside Hunter Brody live in the Matt Black Kia Studios on 97.3 ESPN. We'll talk some more Eagles and NFL coming up next with Dave Weinberg on the Boardwalk on the Hotline. We will get to your thoughts on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter a little bit later in the hour, plus your thoughts at 609-403-0973. But as promised, it is a Weinberg Wednesday. Anytime I am on the radio here on 97.3 ESPN, and that means we have Dave Weinberg joining us right now on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, how you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So it's obviously been an interesting couple of weeks for the NFL, the Philadelphia Eagles and such. And for the uninitiated, I want to play for you what Jalen Mills said. He was asked by CBS Sports HQ about the Eagles starting quarterback situation. This is Jalen Mills' just straight up opinion.
I think you let those guys battle it out, man. During camp, you let those guys battle it out, and whoever is the best man, that's the guy who's going to be your starter day one.
Dave, your reaction is?
Sounds to me like it's going to be an open competition. I was listening to you guys a little bit earlier, and it was very telling that Jalen described Carson as a competitor, but Carson as a competitor, but Jalen Hurts as a leader. And I think that's right on point, to be honest with you. Carson can talk about being a leader anytime he wants, but until you actually do it, you're not going to go over that well in the locker room. And Jalen, he did have his ups and downs, certainly. Time will tell whether his skill set translates to the NFL, but he's proven himself to be the leader of that football team. I mean, he did it at Alabama, he did it at Oklahoma, and I thought he did it at the Eagles in the brief playing time he got. So the fact that they don't think Carson is that tells you volumes about what they really think of him as as their franchise quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm talking about.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I just wonder, if I'm Carson Wentz, how do I win? How do I win in this situation where the organization committed to a rebuild, brought in all these young new coaches? Naturally, there'll be growing pains no matter who's playing quarterback, and factor in the roster is a little bit of a mess right now as well. You're so heavily dissected with every single play at this point. How can you possibly win in this scenario?
You probably can't. He's probably better off going somewhere else, getting a fresh start. As that's kind of like the popular thing to do nowadays. Carson's going to have a really tough time in Philly if he stays. I mean, he certainly has that contract, so that's not too painful when you get that paycheck every 2 weeks or whatever. So, but yeah, he's. I think his time is done here. To be honest with you, I don't know how he can win back the team. I don't know how he can win back the fan base. I don't know how he's going to win over that new coaching staff. It's going to be really tough for him. I think if they can swing a trade, they're better off doing that. That's for sure.
Dave, you mentioned also the fact that we talked about, what Jalen Mills said. He said Wentz is the fiery competitor, that Hurts is the leader. And we talked about it in the last segment also about, Tom Brady. But I also think about, Carson Wentz's idol is Brett Favre. And Brett Favre was the everyday dude. He hung out with the offensive linemen. He hung out with the guys. He was one of the dudes. He was a bit of a prankster. He had beers with the defensive players. He, talked to the Warren Sapp, the famous, NFL Films videos. And it's like, Carson, for as much as you admire Brett Favre, you really don't do any of the things that made Favre except for try to make throws that you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's true. Carson's always been kind of a quiet guy. I guess it's because of his roots. He started out in North Carolina and then moved to North Dakota and basically grew up there. And he's one of those down to earth, very spiritual guy, which there's certainly nothing wrong with that. And he did have his supporters in the locker room, guys who share the same views on things. Zach Ertz being one. Couple other guys, Jason Kelsey, I guess. But he's never that take charge command of the guy. And you're right. I mean, he goes hunting with Mike Trout, but that really doesn't help you when you're the Eagles quarterback. And, like you mentioned, you went fishing with Fletcher Cox, okay, whoop-de-doo. And, but he's not one of the guys. And I don't know if Tom Brady is either, to be honest with you, but his 10 Super Bowl appearances suggest he doesn't need to be. So, that's definitely a strike on him. I think a strike one that he's not the voice in the locker room that you really need from your starting quarterback.
Do you think what the Rams did to move Goff and acquire Stafford helps or hurts the Wentz trade possibility, or do you think that there's no real impact or correlation?
That's a good question. And again, like you said earlier, or someone said earlier, it's two different kind of situations. It's funny that the Rams chose the coach over the quarterback, whereas the Eagles seem to be choosing the quarterback over the coach with Peterson getting fired. And I guess it's I don't know if it helps or hurts him really, because there's other guys out there that are going to be moved. Deshaun Watson being one, couple other guys, I guess. So I don't know if the market. I don't know, but all it takes is one team that thinks that they can fix Carson. And that's all you need, and somebody who's willing to give up a boatload of picks or whatever, which I guess is the Eagles' mindset. They're not just going to give him away, even if his market is down a little bit now. But it's going to be really interesting to see, how how he fits in this hierarchy here. With Goff and Stafford switching teams, and now you're going to have Deshaun Watson, and I'm going to be curious to see if there is a team that steps up for Carson Wentz. Indianapolis, I guess, would be the most natural one, but even that I don't think is a real given.
Dave Weinberg joining us here in the Boardwalk on a Hotline here on 97.3 ESPN. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave Weinberg19. Also, check out his extra point columns over at 97.3ESPN.com. Of course, Dave, the flip side of that coin is you heard Jalen Mills say, I think they should compete. The best man wins. Well, that does seem to echo a little bit what Nick Sirianni said. Nick Sirianni says every position should be a competition. So is that a sign to you that players are maybe already buying into the Sirianni mantra?
Maybe. I mean, his press conference wasn't the best, but you don't win games based on your press conferences. So you can just take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But yeah, you really have no choice if you're a player but to buy into your new coach. I mean, you have to kind of get on board and follow his direction. I bet every coach says that. Every position is an open competition. You're really going to tell me that Fletcher Cox has to compete for his job, or Jason Kelsey if he stays? There's Darius Slay. I mean, there's kind of a limit to that. But it should be an open competition in quarterback because neither Wentz nor Hurts, I thought, guaranteed themselves a starting job last year. I mean, Wentz certainly didn't.
Does the age of the coaching staff concern you at all? What leaves me a little bit optimistic is nowadays, if you're 39, you still have 10 years of NFL experience coaching because you just start out so young. So that does make me feel a little bit better, but there is the other side of me that thinks just a Jim Caldwell or a Marvin Lewis for the defensive side, just one veteran to lean on would have been nice.
Yeah, you're right there. It's great to have guys who can relate to players. They do have some experience, but you want a guy who, if this guy is relatively young, like say, Doug was, he wasn't terribly young, but at least he had played the game and he knew what to expect, and they knew what to expect from him. He had that kind of respect because he had been in the NFL for so long. These guys, they do have a lot of experience, I guess, as far as coaching goes, but and they probably listen to the same music and watch the same TV programs as the players do. But yeah, I think you need that veteran presence somewhere. I guess Jeff Stoutland is going to be that guy. He's the kind of the veteran, I guess, of the coaching staff that players can lean on for guidance and advice. But I guess it's two schools of thought. You either want the veteran, older guy, or the young guy who can relate better. It's going to be interesting to see how it works out.
Speaking of the coaches, Dave, Andy Reid confirmed today that the Eagles did not interview either Bieniemy or Kafka or anybody on the Chiefs staff, even though there were reports out there they submitted a request or there might have been interest. Andy Reid said, nope, it never happened. What do you think about that?
Surprised. But that tells me that maybe Bieniemy and Kafka weren't interested in the Eagles. Because you would have thought that, of the 10, they interviewed 10 guys. Why not wait, a couple weeks or what have you to interview Eric Bieniemy? And he's supposed to be the hot hot candidate on a lot of people's lists. I was very shocked that to hear them say that the Eagles hadn't even inquired. Maybe they did inquire, or maybe Bieniemy and Kafka made it clear that they weren't really that interested in coming to Philly.
Well, the other thing that's interesting to me is, Dave, that, in order for Bieniemy to have interviewed, the Chiefs had to give permission for him to get a Zoom interview, right? Anybody who's in there. So I kind of have to wonder, was maybe was it just one of those things where maybe, like you said, if Bieniemy wasn't interested, Brian Daboll reportedly wasn't interested in the Eagles job. Maybe some of these connections that were supposedly to former Philadelphia people, maybe those connections are just, maybe not as strong as we thought they were.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, Andy Reid's time in Philly didn't end, quite so well. But then again, I mean, Sirianni comes from Indy, where Frank Reich was here, so he kind of knows what the lay of the land is. He knows how the front office can be meddlesome and controlling. So, but yeah, he didn't have any problem with, he pretty much endorsed the Eagles for Sirianni. So I don't know. I'm not really sure how. I guess it all depends on your personal experiences. And Andy. Well, again, Andy kind of. he kind of was the lead blocker for Doug Peterson when he came here. So maybe something changed in the last couple of years. Oh, they certainly can't be happy with the way things ended with Doug. So maybe that had an impact on it.
All week long, Gill and I were kind of looking at some mock drafts, and you see a bunch of different things. You see a tight end, you see a wide receiver and Waddle. Are you leaning any certain way right now on what they should do with that 6th overall pick?
Patrick Surtain. That would be my choice. The corner from Bama. I think they really need help in that secondary. I think he's the shutdown corner you can pair with Darius. You can pair with Darius Slay. But then again, they need help everywhere. I mean, if there's a wide receiver there that they really like, whether it's Chase from LSU or one of the Alabama guys, I have a hard time thinking they're going to draft a tight end. And they haven't had one in the first round. I think it's maybe Keith Jackson, and that was a long, long time ago.
I'm glad you joined me on the dark side on the defense, because I feel like everyone is so enamored with offense. People forget that. Listen, there was numerous times that secondary was blowing guys on double, triple, moves. Avonte Maddox struggled for pretty much most of the year. They had to stick Jalen Mills out there because of injuries, and he was serviceable. So to me, this team needs blue chip players. And I understand Kyle Pitts is the best tight end in the NFL, but I'm not drafting a guy just because he's a tight end. I'm drafting somebody because he might be one of the best players in the draft. To me, that's what Patrick Surtain is. To me, it would be like, I don't want to draft Chase Young because I need a wide receiver. Like, no, you draft Chase Young, for goodness sake.
Yeah, I mean, I get the thinking. You want playmakers, as many playmakers. This is an offensive league, no doubt about it. And another tight end would, you can pair with Dallas Goedert in 12 personnel. That would be a big boost, I guess. If you're not, evidently, Zach Ertz is gone, so you don't have anybody else that can really, fill that role. But I think I find it hard to believe you can't find a pretty good tight end in the 2nd or 3rd round, which you did with Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert, by the way. So, I'd have a hard time, understanding the thinking there and getting a tight end in the 1st round.
Dave Weinberg joining us here in the Boardwalk on a hotline on 97.3 ESPN. Follow him on Twitter at Dave Weinberg 19. Veteran Eagles writer. Check out all of his extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Dave, before we let you go, I want to ask you, I know you're also a baseball guy. JT Realmuto re-signed, Didi Gregorius re-signed, Matt Moore brought in here. Looks like Dave Dombrowski's actually doing a job of a real baseball executive.
Yeah, don't forget Chase Anderson as well.
I could care less about Chase Anderson.
I know.
Yeah, they're the Phillies are looking. The prospects are looking good here. I mean, people were really down on them and on Middleton specifically earlier in the offseason. But I mean, signing JT Realmuto is just huge to me. He's the best catcher in the game. Bryce Harper has openly lobbied for him for the last couple months. So to get him to retain him is a huge get for them. But they still have some work to do on that pitching staff.
Dave Weinberg, extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. Don't forget about the podcast Tequila and Touchdowns with Dave Weinberg and his all guests. He appears whether on the Sports Bash or Game Night via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. Dave, always appreciate the time of the conversation. I appreciate you jumping on an hour earlier today.
Oh, my pleasure. And I'm taking the Bucs in the Super Bowl, by the way.
Oh, there you go. Hold on, wait. Bucs. Why Bucs? I'm going Chiefs. I can't go against Andy Reid on a bye week with extra week to prepare.
I understand. I got you. I'm not going against Tom Brady, though.
Okay, so you say Tom Brady, I say Andy Reid. Brodes, you want to break the tie here?
Ooh, I really haven't processed it yet because it's not.
You've had 2 weeks to process.
Well, no, I mean, this is tough. Every day I wake up, I feel a different way. It's like, I can't go against Tom. And it's like, but it's Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid right now. So I don't have an answer yet. I'm not just going to throw something there. I need to truly feel it before I say it on these airwaves. You'll probably hear it on Friday.
Kids these days, Dave.
And more importantly, I need to find out what my numbers are in my block pool. Then I won't care who wins.
Dave, always appreciate the time. We'll catch you next week.
Hey, guys. Thanks.
Josh Hudrick here along with Hunter Brody here on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hudrick filling in for Mike Gill on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Our conversation with Dave Weinberg being brought to you by my friends over at weightliftinghq.com. weightliftinghq.com is your home for everything you need for all your health and fitness goals. 2021, it caught up people pretty quickly there, bros. And I think that for some people, they need to figure out what are they going to do with their health and fitness goals. Well, maybe you don't want to go to a gym, or maybe you can't get to a gym because you're working from home. You got kids to take care of. You have so much going on. Well, weightliftinghq.com is here to help you. Whether you need a bench or squat rack, kettlebells, dumbbells, cardio and fitness machines, resistance bands, whatever you need, weightliftinghq.com is here to help you reach those goals. They will deliver it right to your home, get you set up with the equipment. Because, Brodes, let me tell you something. I had weightlifting equipment delivered to my house, and I spent half a day setting it up myself. It was one of the most ridiculous experiences of my life because I couldn't figure out which nut and bolt went where. I'm like looking at the chart, trying to figure out. I'm holding the actual, like, is that what that's supposed to be? It was a horrible, ridiculous situation. You don't have to worry about that. weightliftinghq.com is here to help you avoid any of that hassle. Use my promo code Radio10 at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That's Radio10 for 10% off your entire order at weightliftinghq.com. Don't wait. It's February 3rd. Get your health and fitness goals in gear now with weightliftinghq.com. We got one more segment of the Sports Bash coming up next. Mike Gill is en route to call St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joe's of Hamilton. It is rodeo versus rodeo on the coaching staffs on the sidelines, and Mike Gill will have all the action with Steve Parker tonight at 6 o'clock right here on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN.com. Of course, the Sports Bash is live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can watch the show on the stream. We'll get to your comments on the stream as well as your texts at 609-403-0973 next here on the Sports Bash. Josh Hennig filling for Mike Gill alongside Hunter Brody.
High school basketball is back, and 97.3 ESPN has complete coverage. This is Tom Williams. Mike Gill and Steve Parker will be at St. Augustine Prep tonight for live play-by-play of the Battle of the Rodeos. Number 3 St. Joseph against number 7 St. Augustine in the Paul Rodeo Gym. Then on Friday, George McNally and I will bring you number 11 Wildwood Catholic and Ocean City from the Dixie Howell Gym. They're the Calvi Electric Games of the Week. St. Joe, St. Augustine tonight. Wildwood Catholic, Ocean City on Friday. Both starting at 6 on 97.3 ESPN.
I'm Harvey from Bernie Robbins Jewelers. Love makes one do crazy things. Take me. I'm having a 50% off sale, a crazy Cupid 50% off Valentine's sale with interest-free financing, something we haven't done in years, featuring great Valentine's gifts and engagement diamonds at 50% off with interest-free financing. Shop BernieRobbins.com or go crazy the old-fashioned way and visit one of our stores. The 50% off Crazy Cupid sale ends February 13th. Why the 13th? If you haven't done it by then, I can't help you.
Last night's sleep? Interrupted by pain? Tonight, silence it. With new ZQL Night Pain. Restful sleep, now with powerful pain relief. ZQL Night Pain combines America's #1 sleep aid with a maximum strength pain reliever. So you can fall asleep fast and wake feeling rested, because pain should never get in the way of a great night's sleep. New ZQL Night Pain. Silence pain. Sleep soundly. Available at retailers near you.
Time is running out on your chance to enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Squares sweepstakes. It's the largest official game of Super Bowl Squares ever, with millions of dollars in prizes, and best of all, it's free to enter. Someone wins $50,000 every score change during Super Bowl 55. Touchdowns, field goals, safeties, extra points, even a pick six is a winner. Each time we pick a lucky winner from the square, they win 50 G's. Plus, 2 grand prize winners will win $500,000 they could use toward their dream home. Don't miss your chance to win. See rules and enter for free right now at RocketMortgageSquares.com. Then tune in on February 7th to see if you bring home some dough. Rocket Mortgage, official mortgage sponsor of Super Bowl 55.
No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 U.S. and D.C. of age of majority. Ends 2/4/2021, 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. The NFL entities as defined in the official rules have not offered a sponsor of this promotion in any way.
Hindsight is 20/20. 2020 was a brutal year with a lot we couldn't control. Pandemic, economy, unemployment. What can we control? Our job, our career. Don't look back with 2020 hindsight next year and see yourself in that 2020 job. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. You could start your new life as an IT pro in as little as 4 months. Live online classes meet just twice a week. It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
Recently, Total Wireless helped Charlie Michelle stage a virtual dance recital for her friends and family.
This event was super meaningful to them.
Because when you move to Total Wireless, you can get amazing devices on nationwide 5G. And with unlimited plans starting at $25 a month, you could save up to $1,200 a year.
Thank you, Total Wireless, for helping me pull this off.
Total Wireless. Do amazing. Compatible 5G device required. 5G network in limited areas. Month equals 30 days. Savings claim made when compared to 4-line postpaid plans of leading carriers 10-20-20. See terms and conditions at totalwireless.com.
Good morning, Privates! Good morning, Drill Sergeant! I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. You seem to be in a good mood today. Astute observation.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
They're even shaped like hearts. So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone? Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Happy Heart Shapes are back for a limited time. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Get a refresh with your refund during Mako's tax season event for expert paint and collision repair. Use our contactless services. It's as easy as book, quote, fix. Better get Mako. Visit Mako.com today to schedule your free estimate. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Josh Hennick filling in for Mike Gill here on the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN alongside Hunter Brody at Brodes81 on Twitter. I am at Josh Hennick on Twitter. Mike Gill is en route to call high school basketball top of the hour. St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joseph Hamilton right here on 97.3 ESPN. Of course, my appearance here is being brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. That's right, FanDuel Sportsbook is your home to get in all the action for the 55th edition of the big game with exclusive 55-1 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never tried FanDuel before, you users can bet on either team. So if you are like Dave Weinberg and you think the Bucs go in, or you're like me, you think the Chiefs are going to win Super Bowl, well, you can get 55-1 odds when you use my promo code Hennig, Hennig. You can bet $5 to win $275. You can't beat that. You can be a big winner for the big game on February 7th. Listen, I've been betting on football all season long with FanDuel Sportsbook. There are a range of betting options from daily odds boosts to massive payouts with the same game parlays. So don't miss out. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Use my promo code Hennig to get 55-1 odds on the big game. That's promo code HENNIG with FanDuel Sportsbook. Must be 21 or to play. See full terms and conditions at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. And yes, I am aware that both of my picks lost yesterday.
Not a good day at the office, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm 128-80 right now. So
not good enough.
So I'm obviously not an idiot, but I'm not good enough.
Well, you could have had 2 more wins.
I could have. I should have.
Yeah.
Listen, it's stupid because I went against my own advice.
Well, you can't do that. You're a hypocrite.
Well, it's being dumb. It's making a dumb
Well, did you tell the people one thing and then go on the other way? No. Okay, I just want to make sure you're true
I never
to the
do
people.
That. I never do that. But I've been telling people that you need to bet every Nets game and take the over.
Right.
Well, I didn't take the over in the next game. I took the over in the Celtics and the Warriors game. And that's the one I got wrong. Well, guess what? The Nets game hit the over again.
Okay, well, as long as you were right on the one that you gave, that you put out there, if you messed up on your own, well, then just shame on you.
Well, I'm saying that, I'm telling people to do that, but yet I forgot to take the
Right,
Nets
you didn't even take it. Yeah, so that's a shame on you.
It's a dumb move by me.
Right, you deserve that to happen. What happened, you deserved.
Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes.
But I'm a little too honest for my own good as well, so it doesn't help either.
Well, there's pros and cons of that.
You want to hear from the people?
Of course.
609-403-0973 is the text board. Also, you can message the show as we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I want to first go to Dan from EHT. Apparently is very opinionated about your name right now for some reason.
Well, I think it's because of the earlier conversation of Brodes and Bro. And
yeah. He says Brodes is not the original Bro. That's Matt Riddle at WWE. You're the unoriginal Bro.
I don't even want to be Bro, though.
He says you need to make a pick for the bowl.
I need to make one?
Yeah.
I will be giving my prediction on Friday.
Why?
Because that's what we do here. We do it normally through the Eagles games. We give our pick on Friday, and then we watch the game on Sunday. We talk about it on Monday. That's what I'm going to do with the Super Bowl. So I have it in my head. I kind of lied to you earlier. I know where I'm going, but I'm just waiting. You're going to have to wait and see.
See that, folks? I'm the honest one here. He's the liar.
Well, I'm not really a liar. I do go back and forth a little bit, but I know which way I'm leaning. It's hard not to, though. It's that great of a matchup. It really is. Like, this is going to be incredible, where
I hear you.
I question myself a bit on how I feel for it, but I kind of know which way I'm leaning.
609-403-0973 is the text board. 609-403-0973. We get on the conversation. I want to bring up Geoff, Bone, and Pookie on the Facebook feed, because when we mentioned about what Sirianni said about competition earlier, he says, I like Sirianni a lot more now. Was that your reaction to the competition too? You like competition like Geoff does?
Here's what I'll say about it. Yeah, of course I like competition, but I don't think Nick Sirianni's message was like a tough, this is going to be a competition thing. I think the ownership and the front office wanted him to kind of just like, hey, give us coach speak, not player speak. Give us coach speak. It's just like a cliche thing to say. I don't think he's like, yeah, competition kind of. You know what I mean?
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, I think it's just part of like, hey, we're going to have a competition, that kind of thing. I'm not reading into it like a Dan Campbell. If Dan Campbell's talking about competition, I think the message is a little bit stronger. The way Nick Sirianni says competition, struggles to say it 3 times, then he eventually says it. I'm just saying, like,
the guy was nervous.
The delivery of him talking about the competition doesn't scream
Zubin Mehenti
competition.
said that the most awkward conversation he ever had with a guy when he got hired as a coach was Matt LaFleur. He said the first time they talked to him, he was stumbling over himself. He couldn't talk straight. And all of a sudden, he goes to the NFC Championship game 2 straight years.
Well, look, I said it from day one. I'm never going to say that this guy's going to be a bad coach because he struggles in front of the media. Doug Peterson was horrendous, and the guy won a Super Bowl. So I'm not writing him off. But when he talks about how there's competitions at every single position, to me, I just think he's giving you a load of cliches. And whatever. If that's what he's going to be, then that's what he's going to be. But he doesn't scream like, wow, his message is so strong about competition, I'm ready to run through a damn wall.
On the text board at 609-403-0973 says, why isn't anyone demanding Roseman take responsibility for the mess he's created? He needs to go. He created the mess. Well, the reason why I'm not demanding it is because if you've listened to me on Game Night on here on 97.3 ESPN, it's usually at 6 o'clock, but tonight we have high school basketball. If you want to blame Howie Roseman, then the person you need to blame is Jeffrey Lurie. Because Jeffrey Lurie is the reason why Howie Roseman is here. He is the reason why Doug Peterson is no longer here. He is the one who, according to reports, has had a little more say than we realized in some of these decisions. So you want people to demand Howie Roseman take responsibility. Why don't we demand Jeff Lurie take responsibility? How about we find out why the owner of the football team has a 16-minute diatribe before the introduction of the head coach, but he doesn't want to take questions from the media, and you want me to demand Howie Roseman? No. Let's demand the owner take responsibility for his own action.
Yeah, but isn't it one and the same? Because if Jeffrey Lurie, if you want to get rid of Howie Roseman, Jeffrey Lurie needs to do it. So we need to hold Jeffrey Lurie accountable to get rid of Howie Roseman at the same time. Like if you want to go down that road, is like the reason why Howie Roseman is here is because of Lurie. So if you need to hold Lurie accountable for that and other things, then we need to hold him accountable for getting rid of Howie Roseman if that needs to occur as well. You know what I mean, though? Like, he's the one that has the power to get rid of him. So if you do, like, Jeffrey Lurie needs to be held accountable to get rid of rid of Howie Roseman.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah, for real. But the texter,
lot of weird names there.
Yeah, the texter said, though, that he's not held accountable. This fan base screams for him to be fired every day, all day, 24/7. So
I have never met somebody in my life who's like, I like Howie Roseman.
Not one.
Howie Roseman did a good job.
But to be fair, I think that there's a reason why that is. Like, I don't think it's just every person on the face of the earth is so irrational. I think that there is a track record that shows you that Howie Roseman could be losing it a bit. And there's a reason why. Like, I don't think it's just as simple as he won you a Super Bowl, so you should never hold him you should never hold him to the fire, or you should never be upset with what he does because he won you that one Super Bowl that one year he hit on all the free agents. Like, I think it's very reasonable. That's where I differ between you and Gill and where the fan base is. I'm somewhere in between. I think the fan base is way too extreme, and then I think maybe you and Gill a little bit to the way I view it and the way that I kind of receive the way you guys speak about it. I think you guys are way too lenient on Howie and think it's way more Jeffrey Lurie than it is him. And I'm somewhere in between that. I'm in the
and
middle.
That's fine.
Of that. Yeah.
You could be that. I just feel like nobody wants to talk about Jeffrey Lurie for the same reason.
Well, I think they are now.
Well, they're starting to.
Yeah, it's starting to eye-open. It's eye-opening.
You know, the one he said to talk to the media and has a 16-minute diatribe, you know, people are like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You know, whereas to me, it's similar to the thing where, you know, people pick and choose who they want to dislike. You know, it was, let's blame Brett Brown, but let's not blame the players. Now that Doc's here, it's don't blame Doc, blame Ben Simmons, right? We pick and choose who we want to target at times, and there's not a fair and balanced perspective, for lack of a better term, on the whole situation. I think sometimes you got to step back and realize things may not be what you thought.
Yeah, for sure. You know, there's obviously times where Jeffrey Lurie is stepping in and it makes Howie Roseman look bad. No doubt about it. There's also times where Jeffrey Lurie is there's just some times where Howie Roseman is making poor decisions and it's all on him as well. So it's just situational based off of the circumstances, whether it's J.J. Arcega-Whiteside or Jalen Reagor. But I do think it's ridiculous. The day after Doug Peterson's fired, there's a report saying that, oh, yeah, Howie Roseman wanted Jefferson, but he went with Doug Peterson's pick of Jalen Reagor. Like, come on. That's all a joke to me. It really is.
Yeah, this idea that they were arguing in the room, like, this is not Jerry Jones pounding a table. He wants Johnny Manziel, and the whole room is telling him, no, take Zach Martin. This is not that.
Right, and you got to think of it like this. Doug Peterson had no say. He had no power. Yet when it comes to your first-round pick, that's when he magically has all this power. It doesn't add up. So it's just crazy where we are right now with this organization.
Squeeze in one more text in here at 609-403-0970. Brian Absekin says, who cares what Malcolm Jenkins thinks at this point? He won another huge payday the minute the last whistle blew against Seattle in 2020. The organization did him a favor.
What, by letting him get out of here?
Yeah. That's what Brian Absekin thinks.
I think it's important to value what he says, though, just because he's a very respected leader who's been around. He wouldn't just make up stuff. Like when he says that the organization probably allowed Carson Wentz's ego to go a certain way and they didn't handle it properly, I'm going to trust him. There's guys where if Antonio Brown said something about an organization, I probably don't put as much stock into it. Right. But it's Malcolm Jenkins. So, like, how can you not?
Right. Real quick before we get out of here, Josh Hennick filling in for Mike Gill. He'll be next on the high school basketball call, top of the hour. St. Augustine Prep versus St. Joe's right here on 97.3 ESPN. Did you hear that what Miller Lite is doing?
I did not.
So they put out a written ad in newspapers and on social media. This ad is, you can't copy it. You have to literally type this super long URL. They want you to type it when you watch the Michelob Ultra commercial because they claim that Miller Lite has better taste, and the one more calorie that you would consume with Miller Lite, you get rid of by typing this long URL.
What? I'm going to have to try this.
Look it up.
I'm going to have to. I'm a Miller Litesman.
You can win free Miller Lite because of it.
For life?
Just like a case.
Not the same.
He's Hunter Birdie. I'm Josh Hennick. Mike Gill on the call. High school basketball next.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Burkott pulls up, wing jump shot of McConnell, it's good! Burkott, Korkmaz gives the Sixers the lead.
The Sixers are in Charlotte to face the Hornets. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN. Coverage begins tonight after high school basketball.
Stop the countdown. It's not a new year we're celebrating. It's an all-new Matt Platt Nissan. Yes, you heard right. Matt Platt Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot, and online at mattplattnissan.com. Help us celebrate when you get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan with the Matt Platt Nissan Fast Track Checkout. Available online at mattplattnissan.com. Our non-touch delivery and electronic paperwork ensures your safety comes first. Plus, Matt Platt Nissan 1